All right, good morning, everyone. Are you able to hear me? It's now 9 o'clock. I am Judge Melanie Williams. This is the state all-purpose calendar in the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia. At this calendar today, we will take pleas, arraign cases, and handle other matters as necessary. I will take the competency calendar at the same time as the state all-purpose calendar if called upon by the jail. Is the jail on the screen? I see courtroom 2. Is there anyone at courtroom 2 yet? In the meantime, have all defense attorneys had the opportunity to speak with their clients? Is there any clients that have not yet been interviewed? Good morning, Mr. Finley.
Morning, Judge.
Have you
I know
interviewed
that,
everyone?
I know that I'm splitting the calendar with Mr. McLean today. I just reached out to Michael about if there's a Spanish interpreter on. I know he still needs to talk to.
All right, I see that announcement. Oh, good morning. How was are we ready at courtroom 2?
Yes, I'm getting ready to pull my guys out. Yes.
Thank you. And I know, Ms. McLean, you'll need to speak with position 6. That should be Jose Chalene Garcia. Is there a Spanish interpreter on the line?
Back up. Spread out on the benches.
I don't think there is.
Judge,
I don't want nobody in the first row, nobody on the.
we don't have one at the moment, Judge.
Okay, we may have to reset position 6, Mr. McLean. I don't know that we have a Spanish interpreter present on the line.
I can call and get with someone, Judge.
Okay, we'll hold off on that interpreter position and we'll hope that we can get someone. Are all defendants on the screen? I'm gonna explain their rights if we're ready.
Judge,
Yes,
yes, Judge. I represent Raheem Bathia. When he comes on, can I have a quick minute in the breakout room with him?
okay. What I may ask is, are you able to call the jail? That might be easier. I don't know if we'll be able to do a breakout because at courtroom, if he's in courtroom 2, that would slow the entire calendar.
I'm not sure if he's in courtroom 2. I know he's been housed at Cobb County, so I'm not sure if courtroom 2 is full.
What is his name?
Raheem Bathia.
Okay, but there should be, I don't even see his name on the full sheet.
He's position 3 on state all-purpose calendar. Well, let's go forward. Hopefully we'll find him, and then if he's at courtroom 2, I'm gonna ask that you call the jail. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
He's not in here and he's also not on my full sheet as well.
So he will not be brought today?
I'm double checking to make sure. Raheem Bathia.
Was he previously in Cobb?
Yeah, he is not on my pull sheet. I'll double check with my other partner and my sergeant as well to find out what's going on. If we had something updated, if he was an add-on, but I'll check.
All right, let me give all defendants who are currently there their rights. Please, defendants, pay attention. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney at this proceeding here today. All participants, this particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It is also being recorded. That means that any member of the public can log on and watch this particular proceeding. We will do our best to figure out what's going on with position 3. In the meantime, who can we go to first at the jail?
I have Mr. Lightsey ready. Okay.
Okay, that's position 18. All right, Mr. Lightsey, your case number is 22 CR 004721H, in which you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass and 1 count of fair evasion with the offense date of July the 20th of 2022. Do you understand the constitutional rights as I've just explained them?
Yeah.
You said yes?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Whose case is this for the state?
I'll be handling this case, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Dudley, will you please give me the state's recommendation as well as a little bit of the factual basis? I understand that this is a negotiated plea. Is that still the announcement, Mr. McLean?
Which number is that? Your
Or on
Honor?
position 18?
18 is mine, yes, Your Honor.
And
It
it's,
is a negotiated plea, and Your Honor, I switched from the defendant's table, which had the camera off, to, from the prosecutor's table to the defendant's table because of.
oh, we
camera
still
set.
can't see you, Mr. McLean.
Right, now this one has a camera right above the screen, but that one does not. So we were talking last time about this one was going to have its camera turned around. Now physically, if I do this, I don't think that's gonna do it.
We still can't see you. Are you all able to hear Mr. McLean?
We can.
Okay,
So I'll just stick with this one.
all right. We may not be able to.
18 is a negotiated plea, you're right.
All right, thank you for that announcement.
Thank you.
If you would go ahead and give me the factual basis, Mr. Dudley,
Yes,
and
Your Honor.
the offer as well.
This incident took place on July 20th of 2022, where the defendant was observed forcefully pushing his way through a fare gate to avoid paying MARTA fare. Officer Wilkins obtained the defendant and requested identification that the defendant did not provide at the time. The defendant was handcuffed and escorted to the staff room for further processing, where it was found that he had been suspended from MARTA previously. And so he was charged with criminal trespass and fare evasion. The state's offer is 12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days, balance suspended, 40 hours of community service, and a stay away from the Ashby Station MARTA. Nothing further from the state.
He agrees to all those terms. We discussed it fully.
And you stipulate to the factual basis, ID and venue.
We
Mr.
did.
McLean, thank you for those stipulations. Yeah. Shouldn't it be, yeah, I was gonna ask that, Mr. Dudley, because he has a requirement of the community service, should it not be balanced probated? To make sure that the community service is completed?
That is correct, Your Honor.
That is
Right,
correct.
it's not just a time served plea here, so here the balance will be on probation. You understand that, Mr. McLean? Does your client agree to that
Yes, Your Honor.
and still wants to take this plea?
He does. And I explained to him, I said, you know, it won't take very long. If it has to be probated, it won't take very long to do your 40 hours. So he'd like to ask the court to waive, just in case, waive the first 2 months of probation, $49 a month fee.
All right, I'll waive the first 2 months of fees. Mr. Lightsey, I'm gonna ask you some questions to make sure you're voluntarily taking a plea today, okay?
Good, ma'am.
All right, will you please raise your right hand? I'm gonna place you under oath just for the very limited purposes of this plea. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Good, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You can put your hand down. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation?
Yes, ma'am.
Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today?
No, ma'am.
Did anyone promise you anything in exchange for taking a plea?
No, ma'am.
And you understand that you're waiving your right to go to court about this later. You won't be able to challenge this or present any evidence you may have had, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand the requirements that you have to complete community service, 40 hours, but you should not have any additional time to serve at the Fulton County Jail for this case.
Say it again, ma'am.
I said you're gonna have to complete 40 hours of community service, but you should not have any additional time at the Fulton County Jail for this particular case. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you also know you can't go back to the Ashby Station MARTA.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you're prepared to waive your right to go to court. You understood that. I want to make sure that's clear.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, as to the charges of criminal trespass and fare evasion, Mr. Lightsey, how do you plead?
Guilty.
I accept your guilty plea. I believe that will conclude this case. If there's nothing further, Mr. McLean.
No, Your
or
Honor,
Mr.
I
Bentley.
will, he has given me authorization and permission to sign for him on the plea and verdict form and on the police statement, which I will turn in right after court.
All right, thank you. Best of luck to you, Mr. Laxey. That will conclude your case.
All right, next judge, we do actually have Mr. Bethea. He came from Cobb County. Here he is. Have a seat right
All
here.
right, can Mr. I forget who, Mr. Gardner, I believe that was who was representing Mr. Bethea. Is he able to give the jail a call so we could keep going to the next position rather than putting them in a breakout?
The contact number is 404-612-2392.
All right, we'll come back to that position then. Can we go to another position?
Position 1, Mr. Banks.
Your Honor, there's nothing that Mr. Banks needs to be an SAP for, as he is going to trial and he's already made his bond in this case, so I can't ask to lower it.
Okay, so he's already been arraigned?
I believe that he has probably, but we could waive
Yeah,
formal
be a
arraignment
check.
just to be sure, if Your Honor would like.
And you said he's already made bond?
He says he tells me he's already made this bond, something else is holding him.
Okay, let's verify all this before we go to another position. I just want to verify that he's in fact made bond and that he has been arraigned. If he hasn't been arraigned, I'll arraign him today.
At an arraignment with Judge Taylor on
Okay.
June 22nd.
Okay,
I had a feeling he had.
It's Frank Banks,
yes.
and I show a Tamisha Cook.
Tamisha Cook with our office represents him, and she's my copy.
Entry on June 23rd.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Banks, your case has been previously arraigned and it appears that this case will be set for trial already. And as you've made bond, there's nothing further to address with you this morning. If you have any other questions, please call your attorney, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, best of luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, who
Thank
do we
you.
have next?
We can go back to position 3, Mr. Bethea. He's
All
ready.
right, Mr. Gardner, what is your announcement?
My client is taking a plea, Your Honor. It's gonna plead to the charge.
Is it a negotiated plea?
It is.
All right. And whose case is this was? Oh, Ms. Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell, will you please, before I begin, Mr. Bethea, your case is 21 CR 004518C, in which you're charged with battery with the offense date of August the 26th of 2021. Do you understand the constitutional rights that I explained to you previously?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mitchell, will you please give me the state's offer as well as very briefly the factual basis?
Oh, Your Honor, this is gonna be a time served plea, 344 days. I'm gonna have to pull up my notes for the facts real quick.
Just
My
very
apologies.
briefly.
Okay.
I'll be mad.
Your Honor, this was a battery that occurred on August 26th of 2021, where the defendant battered Ms. Dina Roach by throwing a dog crate at her, striking her in the head, and leaving a visible laceration and bump on her left temple. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, no other conditions requested by the state, just time served?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Gardner, was that your understanding of the plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you stipulate to the factual basis ID and venue?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna ask your client a series of questions. Mr. Bethea, you've heard me ask these on the last case. I'm gonna ask you some questions to make sure you're voluntarily taking the plea today, all right?
Yes.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. Thank you. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time that would interfere with your ability to understand this proceeding today?
Absolutely not.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation?
Yes, I am.
Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today?
No,
Did anyone promise you anything in exchange for taking a plea?
no,
And you understand that by taking a plea, you're waiving your right to present any defenses you may have had in a court of law?
yes,
And you're also giving up your right to have the state prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
yes,
And you're prepared to waive all rights?
yes,
And you understand that essentially the time you served in the Fulton County Jail will close out this case?
yes.
All right, as to the charge of battery, Mr. Bethea, how do you plead?
Guilty.
I accept your guilty plea. If there's nothing further from the state or the defense, that should conclude his case. We will need plea paperwork, I believe, signed from, Mr. Bethea. I'm
We
not,
were never sent any, Your Honor. They were only sent an offer. We never received the paperwork. So if the state could send that over.
I didn't understand you, Mr. Gardner. Could you please repeat that for me?
I'm sorry, I said we didn't receive, usually we receive plea paperwork by today, but we haven't received any from the state. So if the state can get that over as soon as possible, so that we can get it signed and my client can be released, would appreciate that.
I'd like to have it signed before the conclusion of SAP if possible. Who would send Mr. Gardner that paperwork? It has to be sent to the jail first. Ms. Mitchell, will you actually send it to the jail for his signature and then send it to Mr. Gardner? 'Cause I'm assuming Mr. Gardner needs to review it. Ms. Champion, what's the best way to do this? Do you know?
Usually it's sent out to the jail for the defendant to,
Sign, right?
I'm gonna have to get with my supervisor because I actually haven't done that before, so.
Mr. Walker,
We'll get it sent.
thank you, Mr.
Just
Walker.
what deputy or what email?
Is there an email at the jail that Mr. Walker can send that plea paperwork
We
to?
could just put it in the chat if that's okay.
Thank you. Or send Mr. Walker a private email if you don't want to put the email in the chat. We just want to make sure we get this paperwork so that he can actually get out. All right, Mr. Gardner, I'm gonna ask you just to hang tight just until you get that paperwork so we can make sure that he actually gets it signed so he can get out. All right?
All right, can they do it before 10, Your Honor? Because I have another hearing. So if the state can move fast on it, I'd appreciate that too.
We will work as fast as we possibly.
We do our best around here. I just want to make sure that your client's paperwork is signed, because what I don't want to happen is he doesn't get it at the jail, and then you're unaware thinking he should be released, and then I haven't
He's
signed.
not
with
being
him.
released. He's.
Oh, yes, okay. Just
We'll get the paperwork sent.
as to
soon
this
possible.
charge, at least. Let's make sure that this charge is no longer holding him in. All right, Mr. Bethea, you'll be on hold. You're gonna sign some paperwork shortly, okay?
All right.
All right. Can we move to the next position, please?
Position 24, Mr. Rainwater.
That is a negotiated plea.
Right. Are we able to go to some of, we can take this position, but after that, can we go to some of the positions that have private counsel? I believe position 9, position 17, 19, and 20, or any of those after we take this one. All right. Good morning, Mr. Rainwater. Your case number is 22 CR 004725F. And what you're charged with simple battery against a police officer, theft by shoplifting, and 2 counts of obstruction, each with the offense date of July the 20th of 2022. Do you understand the constitutional rights that I explained to you previously?
Amen.
All right. Whose case is this for the state? Is this, it's you, Mr. Dudley. Mr.
Yes.
Dudley, will you please put the state's offer into the record as well as very, very briefly the factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation for this case is 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for time served 13 days with balance probated, an anti-theft course, a stay away from the Chevron gas station at 2111 Campbellton Road Southwest, a 6-week anger management course, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapon. This incident took place on July 20th of 2022, where the defendant was picked up for shoplifting. While in custody, he was unresponsive and uncooperative with Officer Jay Watson and was fighting him back and spit him on his face and back, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. McLean, was that your understanding of the plea offer, and do you stipulate to the factual basis ID and venue in this?
Yes, Your Honor, and of course, even though it's not on the paperwork as is normal, we would ask the court to consider waiving 2 months of the probation fee so you can get that anti-theft course done. He and I discussed the various ways that he can get that course done.
All right, I will waive the 2 months of fees to give him time to do that, all right? Mr. Rainwater, I'm gonna place. I'm sorry. Someone speaking. Okay, Mr. Rainwater, I'm gonna place you under oath just so that I can make sure that you're voluntarily taking this plea today, okay?
Amen.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Amen.
Thank you. All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No, ma'am.
All right. Are you satisfied with Mr. McLean's representation in this case?
Amen.
Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today?
Amen.
Did anyone promise you anything?
Amen.
And you understand the requirements of this sentence, that you have quite a few requirements. You have to take an anger management course. No, I'm sorry, I apologize. Oh, you do have to take anger management. You have to take a 6-week anger management as well as an anti-theft course.
It's got both.
You understand that?
Amen.
And you'll have to pay for both classes. You understand that?
Amen.
You shouldn't have any additional time to serve at the Fulton County Jail, however, and you cannot return to that Chevron gas station. You understand that?
Amen.
All right. And you're prepared to waive your right to go to court in its entirety and have the state prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Amen.
All right. As to the charges I previously listed, Mr. Rainwater, how do you plead?
Yes.
I accept your guilty plea. Mr. McLean, I believe, will sign on your behalf. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. When I turned that in, I obtained his address, phone number, and email so that he would have the probation contact sheet able to be filled out as well.
All right. He will need a updated contact information for probation. All right, Mr. Rainwater, I believe that will conclude your case. Best of luck to you, okay?
Mr. Jones, position 16, Mr. Jones.
Okay. All right, this I have that he's gonna be arraigned. Who represents Mr.
Jones on number 16?
Mr. Jones? Wrong, 16.
That's a negotiated plea.
Oh, okay, negotiated plea. All right. Mr. Jones, your case number is 22 CR 0047111Y. And once you're charged with theft by shoplifting with the offense date of July the 19th of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, whose case is this, for the state? Oh, Mr. Dudley, it's yours. Will you put the factual basis very briefly onto the record as well as the plea offer?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident took place on July 19th of 2022, where the defendant was caught stealing items from the Dollar General at 2750 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 28 days. Credit for time served, 14 days, with the balance probated, an anti-theft course, and to stay away from the incident location. Nothing further from the state.
All right, thank you. Mr. McLean, was that your understanding of the plea offer? And do you stipulate to factual basis ID and venue?
It is my understanding, and we do so stipulate. We would also, in this, there is an anti-theft course required, so we'd ask the court to consider waiving 2 months of probation fees. And Your Honor, when I turn that paperwork in with his permission to sign the plea and verdict form and the plea statement form with the correct answers, or the answers that he gave me last night, which will comport with the plea that he just gave.
Okay, I think that's sufficient.
I'd like to just double check with him Mr. Jones, shall I use 81 Atlanta for your address when I turn in the probation contact sheet?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Jones, I'm gonna place you under oath to make sure you're voluntarily taking a plea this morning, okay? Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with Mr. McLean's representation?
Yes, ma'am.
Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today?
No,
Did anyone promise you anything in exchange?
no, ma'am.
And you understand that you will not get any more court dates for this, that you are pleading guilty and you're giving up your right to have the state prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're prepared to waive all those rights, just to be clear. And you understand the requirements of the sentence. You should not have additional time to serve at the Fulton County Jail for this particular case, but you will have to complete an anti-theft course. And you absolutely cannot go back to that Dollar General store. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, as to the charge of theft by shoplifting, how do you plead?
Guilty.
All right, I accept your guilty plea. I believe that will conclude your case if there's nothing further from either Mr. Dudley or Mr. McLean.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Owen Lynch, who do you represent?
Your Honor, I represent Miss Kim Lewison and also Mr. Jarvis Mahan. As to both those defendants, I have done initial interviews. However, I have not had a chance to relay the offers that I received, I believe, yesterday from the state. If I could have a chance to.
Can you give the jail a call? Can we have a number at the jail again? So Mr. Lynch can make those calls.
Yeah, who's the name?
So I know Mr. Mahan is at, and I have Mr. Mahan, and then I have Kim Lewison, who is probably at the South Annex.
Okay, Mr. Mahan is actually on 4 North.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe Mr.
Can we
Lynch.
get a breakout session if you need to talk to Mahan?
Yes, let's see. Can Mr. Lynch and 4 North be put in a breakout, please? All right. Mr.
Sorry to interrupt, Your Honor, but again, can I get that email so I can email this paperwork too?
Oh, that would be great. Can we get an email at the jail?
Yeah,
And Mr. Gardner, if you could put your email in the chat as well so I can CC you.
Yeah, put it
It's
in the
ready to
chat.
go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker, for staying on top of that. All right, while we're doing that, can we go to another position at courtroom 2?
Position 6, Mr. Chilin Garcia.
That's the
Okay,
one-
that's the interpreter position. We need, and I don't believe there's an interpreter on the line yet, so we can't.
Have a seat, okay?
All right.
15, Mr. Johnson.
All right, I have the number 15 is a bond hearing and reset jail jury. Is this is Mr. Finley's case?
That's correct, Judge. And
Right.
yes, Judge, I would like to address bond on each of these.
Okay, has he been previously arraigned? You don't know.
I'm not.
All right,
sure.
well,
I'm trying to look that up.
all right, let's see him. We'll be prepared to arraign him. Mr. Johnson, you have 2 cases this morning. Your cases are 21 CR 001981D, in which you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence with the offense date of March the 24th of 2021. And your second case is 21 CR 001982D, in which you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence with the offense date of April the 20th of 2021. Do you understand your constitutional rights today?
Yes.
All right. What is the current bond amount, Ms. Mitchell, for both positions?
Your Honor, for position 14 is $2,500 cash bond and position 15 is a $2,500 surety bond, both set by Judge Law on April 21st of 2021.
These were set when? I'm sorry, in 2021?
Yes, and he had 2 failure to appears in both cases. One in October 29th of 2021 and then March 21st of 2022.
All right.
And
Ms. Harrison, can I have his history, please?
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Good to see you, Ms. Harrison.
You too.
17 Cycles, last arrest, August of 2021, for driving under the influence of alcohol and possession of Schedule II controlled substance in Cobb County. No disposition listed. That appears to be an open case. He had a felony conviction in 2016 for theft by take-in. Nothing further.
All right. I'm sorry, Ms. Filling, you were gonna say
Yes, Judge.
something?
If I may, unless I'm seeing it wrong, I believe that he has 2 cash bonds that are each 4,000.
Okay, let's
I just
verify.
wanna,
So he has $8,000 cash bond?
that's, yes, that's what I think. If we can
Let's verify.
verify that, but yeah, that's the main reason I want to address
Okay.
bonds, because I thought they're both cash.
And he has been arraigned on both cases.
Okay, he's been previously arraigned, Mr. Finley, so we don't need to do that. Thank you, Ms. Champion.
Thank you.
The orders I
Judge,
see
I'm
are,
sorry, can I add one other thing? He has an open case,
uh-huh,
22 CP 211008, simple battery, family violence, and criminal damage to property, second degree.
okay, thank you, Ms. Harrison. All right, Mr. Finley, the bonds that I see are consistent with what Ms. Mitchell said. 2,500 cash for position 15. And actually, I have it in reverse, 2,500 for cash for 15, and position 14 is 2,500 good.
Okay, then so 14 you said is 2,500 cash.
No, I have it that the one ending in 1981D is a good bond.
Got
And
it.
I have the one ending in 1982D is a cash bond.
Okay, then I will address bond number 15.
All right. So we will only, so you don't wish to address bond for position 14?
No, Judge.
Okay. All right, let's address the cash bond. Ms. Mitchell, if you would give me the factual basis as well as the state's recommendation, which I'm sure is that the cash bond remain, but.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting that the cash bond remain. This for position 15, on April 20th of 2021, the defendant battered Miss Malia, spelled MELEAH Coleman, by pinning her to the ground with his knee and dragging her across the floor by her hair. Ms. Coleman had a laceration from her left knee, multiple scratch marks on her neck, and a bald spot on her temple. And when the police officers arrived, she had a clump of her hair, locks clutched in her hand that was pulled from her temple. The incident started when Ms. Coleman came home and found all her belongings outside the front door, which was locked. The defendant gave her access to come back into the apartment by opening a bedroom window. And at that point, once she was inside, they re-engaged in a verbal argument, and at that point, he attacked her. Officers also stated that there was a trail of blood consistent with her being dragged across the floor. A month prior to this, which is position 14, that occurred on March 24th of 2021, he battered Ms. Coleman by striking her on the left side of her face, leaving her with red marks and a cut on the top of her left ear. So within a month period, he battered the same victim. In addition to that being a reason why that the cash bond remain, he has the open simple battery family violence charge and felony criminal damage to property from July of this year. And this involves a different victim, his new girlfriend, where he pushed her against a bedroom window and slapped her face and continued to push and shove her around the room. He also has an open DUI case in Cobb County and an open DUI case in Sandy Springs. In addition to these open cases, he also has a criminal trespass conviction in 2018 that involves the same victim, where he broke the glass window of Mattress Factory Lofts in order to enter Ms. Coleman's apartment because she wouldn't let him in. So, Your Honor, this is showing risk of reoffense, his violent propensity, and his FTAs show that he is likely a flight risk in this situation. So we are requesting that the cash bond on the second position remain. Nothing.
All right.
further.
Very briefly, before we do this, the interpreter is now present on the line. Mr. McLean, have you spoken to your client already? I believe that was what, position 6? Did you represent
Number
position?
6, Your Honor, I did speak with him. I asked him if he thought that an interpreter would help. We were able to communicate. However, I noticed that a previous case, he did use an interpreter.
We have the interpreter today. Will you need to speak with him by using the interpreter, or do you feel ready to go forward on position 6 once we finish this case?
I think I should touch base with him in private with the interpreter first.
All right, I don't know how we're gonna do that. Because he's at court. Mr. McLean can use his phone, but the problem is he's at courtroom 2 and will need to be in a breakout.
If I could get we could do it by phone if I have the number of the interpreter and the number of the courtroom 2. I could do a conference call. on that.
Oh, okay, would
Yes,
that work?
Judge. Excuse me, Judge. We can do the interpreter case in another courtroom, which will be in courtroom 3. while we
Okay,
continue on with
so
the
if you take him to courtroom 3 and then all of them go into a breakout while we finish that, that would be ideal because I believe our interpreter needs to leave by 10:15.
The conference call might be better, Your Honor, because I would have to then get on Zoom. I'm having trouble getting on Zoom because in the courtroom.
Will there be a phone in courtroom 3?
Want to get me on Zoom in the other? Yeah.
I think it might be better to just get on Zoom, to be honest. I don't know that we,
I can get on Zoom on the other courtroom,
okay,
somewhere else.
okay, thank
Okay.
you. All right, now going back to Mr. Jones's case. All right, I understand that. Mr. Finley, your position on bond.
Yes, Judge. So I am asking for the cash bond to be converted to a surety bond. Mr. Johnson is disputing these charges. And while I do recognize the seriousness and the severity of these charges, he is presumed innocent. Mr. Johnson, leading up to this, was working at a tattoo shop. He was employed full-time. And as we know, bond is not meant to be punitive, but to return, make sure they return to court. And I do recognize his FTA. That being said, there was a return to sender. So on April 4th, regarding that FTA. So he told me he did not receive notice, and I found the return to sender, which solidified that he did not get notice and had the wrong address. I do have an updated address. And these cases involve his ex-girlfriend, who he has not had any communication with, and he will not have communication with. He lives far away from her. He does have strong community ties. He does have family in the area, and money has always been an issue in his life. And with the cash bond, I just want to give Mr. Johnson a fighting chance at being able to fight this charge from the outside. So that's why, Judge, I'm asking for the surety, for it to be converted to a surety bond.
All right, I'm just gonna sound for the victim on the chance that she's here today. Is there a Malia Coleman on this Zoom conference that wishes to be heard? All right, hearing none, I am not gonna adjust his bond at this time for position 14 wasn't before me. So position 14's bond will remain at the $2,500 surety. And for position 15, I will lower the cash bond to a $1,500 cash bond. All right, anything further from either party?
That's a $1,500 cash, Judge.
Yes, I did lower the cash bond.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Walker, yes.
So sorry to continue about this paperwork. So I resent the paperwork. Attorney Gardner has signed his signature. So if the defendant can just sign the version that has already been signed by his attorney, if that makes sense.
Okay, so he needs to, Mr. Gardner, I believe you can go if you,
Yeah,
Mr. Gardner, you can be
I just want to make
excused.
sure the defendant knows which copy to sign, because I sent an unsigned copy. Mr. Gardner has signed. Now the defendant needs to sign the same copy that his attorney has
Is it-
signed.
Okay, so, but Mr. Gardner, you can be excused. I believe that we'll handle it there at the jail. At courtroom 2, please just make sure that Mr. Bethea signs the copy that Mr. Gardner has already signed.
Thank you, Judge. And can you have my client call me when he signed, after he's signed? Thank you.
All right. All right, can we go to the next position?
26, Taylor.
All right, the announcement I had, oh, we can't do that. Mr. McLean is gone. Can we go to a position that Mr. Finley has?
Yeah, if we could do
Turn the case
1
on
through
4-0.
15.
I'm sorry, what position is this?
This is
Position
position.
9.
Oh, go ahead.
Position 9? All right, are you Eric Ferguson? Oh, no. Okay.
In position 19.
We can't do anything past 15 quite yet. Mr. McLean is not with us and he has the second half of the calendar. Can I take someone from the first half of the calendar?
Position 19.
Judge, I believe position 19 was Mr. Mahan, who I had just spoken to, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so that's your client. All right, that makes sense. All right.
I do have an announcement, Judge.
Yes.
I did get a chance to relay the offer to him, which at this time, he's currently held without bond on a felony matter. So just to make sure that this doesn't cause any issues, what I propose to do is enter a not guilty plea for today and visit with him. He's likely to resolve this case through a plea. The current offer is a probation offer, and I would just like to have some additional time to speak to him about how that felony may interact with this case. So for today, we'll be pleading not guilty, but we're likely to request that go on a plea calendar as soon as we can get an idea when he may be released on that felony charge or have some sort of resolution in sight.
All right, how are you asking for a reset to this calendar in a few weeks? In the hopes that you'll resolve it that quickly, Mr. Lynch?
I actually would like to do that if that's possible. I'm not sure that we'll have a resolution that quickly, but I can certainly visit Mr. Mahan and discuss it further, and we may be able to resolve it by that time.
All right, has this case been previously arraigned?
No, ma'am.
It has not. All right, I'm gonna arraign his case at this time. Mr. Mahan, your cases are 22 CR 00476-8G, in which you're charged with simple battery and family violence. And your second case is 22 CR 00470G, in which you're also charged with simple battery and family violence with the offense date of June 22nd of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights today?
Ma'am.
All right, Mr. Lynch, do you waive the formal reading of the accusation?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll have a chance to discuss that with him.
All right, thank you. At this time, Mr. Mahan, you've been formally charged with simple battery and family violence in 2 separate cases with the case numbers that I've previously read to you, which have been formally accused by the Solicitor General of Fulton County here in the state of Georgia. The cases will now be set for a trial, and the trial will be scheduled for the state court judge to whom the cases are actually assigned. At this jury trial, you'll have the right to an attorney, just as you've had today, and you do not have the burden to prove the charges at trial. The state, represented by the Solicitor General, will bear that burden. And in order to get a conviction against you, they will have to convince the jury beyond a reasonable doubt. If they do get a conviction, you can face a sentence of up to 1 year in prison or a fine of $1,000 for each charge. And those cases may run concurrently or consecutively. Based upon this information, how do you plead, Mr. Mahan, to the 2 charges that I previously read to you?
Not guilty, ma'am.
I accept your not guilty plea. At this time, your case will be reset. I am gonna reset his case to the SAP calendar one time. I believe I can reset it. Mr. Lynch, how much time were you asking for?
Probably as much time because I'm not sure when he's gonna, so as much time, the longer amount of time that you would be able to do it, I think would probably be
Okay,
best.
we'll reset you to the September 1 SAP calendar. That should give you a full month to try to resolve this. If it's unable to be resolved at that time, it will be reset for a division judge. And further pleas to be taken as part of their calendar. All right?
Thank you, Judge.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Mahan. That will conclude your business today. Are we able to go to that interpreter case? Mr. McLean is not back. Okay. Oh, I see that the interpreter is back. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Actually, I have not been sent to a breakout room.
You have not.
I have not, no.
Yes, there's gonna be a change of plan. We're just gonna go ahead and do the interpreter case here, since we only have 2 more cases left in this courtroom. So we'll just complete our 2 cases and then do our interpreter case last. Because we
The
only
only
have,
problem is she needs to leave very shortly. So, I'm sorry, ma'am, will you please tell me your name?
My name is Lucia, Your Honor.
Oh, Lucia, good morning. What, you need to be gone by 10:15?
That is correct.
All right, and Mr. McLean needs to speak to his client.
I could call, I mean, if you put me in a breakout room with a client, I could call Mr. McLean and put him on speaker so that he can hear his client if he's not able to connect via Zoom.
And Mr. McLean is no longer here with me, so I don't even know. I'm gonna go ahead and swear you in though while we're here.
Okay, Your Honor.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully interpret from English to Spanish and Spanish to English the proceedings before this court today in an accurate manner to the best of your skill, knowledge, and ability?
I do.
Thank you. Okay, we could try to speed through I understand what you're trying to say at courtroom 2. I could try to speed through these 2. But I was trying to.
did you want to do the interpreter case now, is what you're saying, Judge?
I don't think I can. Mr. McLean is not here. So
Okay, go back.
we'll please hold.
Okay, can we go
All
on
right.
to position
Yes. we'll go
3
on.
for the competency? Mr. Chisholm? Come on, Mr. Chisholm.
Oh, okay, we're going to competency. Mr. Howard, are you there?
I don't think,
I think we
I
need
don't
to
think
do-
Mr.
yeah, I don't
Howard's
think he's
not
on
here.
yet.
I saw Mr. Howard down here with me moments ago. Oh, Mr. Howard, there you are walking through the building, I'm assuming, because I don't
Well-
think you're out in the nightlife of the city.
No, it doesn't matter.
We,
As Judge trying to get Mr. McLean on Zoom.
okay, all right, are you prepared, Mr. Howard, to do position
Yes,
on the
We'll do-
competency? I'm sorry, say that again, Ms. Howard.
We'll need a breakout. You, the court, Mr. Walker.
Oh, that's right. All right, so can I be placed in a breakout with Mr. Walker and Mr. Howard? All right, Mr. Chisholm.
Yes.
In case 22 CR 002929C, you are going to be released on a consent signature bond, but there are conditions to that signature bond. You cannot go back to that Hampton Inn. Do you understand that, Mr. Chisholm?
I understand that's what you're saying.
You cannot go back there. You understand that?
Why do I have to let criminals run me out of there?
Well, that is the condition of the signature bond you're receiving today. You cannot go back to that location. Do you understand that? If you go back to that location, we will welcome you back to the Fulton County Jail. We'll welcome with open arms. You understand that?
Can I say something?
I don't think you should. But the court will hear very limited statements. Remember, the state is again listening to you. So I would advise that any questions or statements or concerns you have, you address with your attorney.
Yes, and Mr. Chisholm, we spoke and the judge is releasing you. So just, I don't suggest you say anything else at this time. This is what we discussed that you wanted, so.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right. And remember, you can't have any contact with Mr. Warren either, okay?
With who?
All right, well, you should be, as long as you don't have other holds, this case is no longer holding you in the Fulton County Jail. I'll sign that order shortly, okay?
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chisholm, have a good day. Do not go back there.
Okay.
All right, who do we have next?
Position 26, Tyler.
Are we ready on, did Mr. McLean make it into the breakout room? I'm assuming he did.
No, Your Honor, I'm still
He did
here.
not, he did not make it in there.
he's logging on now, Judge. He should be.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, Ms. Lucia, once he logs on to the Zoom and he's in the breakout, I'm not even sure how we're gonna do this. Let me see if I can speed past position 26. What is the announcement? Oh, Mr. McLean has that case
It's a
anyway.
negotiated plea. It should take 2 seconds.
Okay, but Mr. McLean has to do that one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's the problem.
He should be coming up in the waiting room, Judge. You just, let me see.
All right, Is Mr. McLean on yet? No?
Judge, can we do position 21?
I think that's Mr. McLean as well.
That's Mr. McLean's position as well. Okay, Mr. McLean is now on. Can he be put in a breakout room with, I'm sorry. That's okay. All right.
There we go.
All right, let's think about how to do this. Position 6 is in courtroom 2. And there's no way, perhaps we can put Mr. McLean in the breakout with interpretation and then have Mr. McLean call the jail on speaker. I'm not really sure how the best way to do this.
Judge, someone is about to go to courtroom 3 in a second.
Okay.
6.
Oh, so position 6 will be taken to courtroom 3?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. Is there, let's see, Mr. Lynch, who else do you represent?
Judge, I also represent Kim Lewison. I just got a message where they're requesting my phone number, so I'm assuming they're gonna give me a call so I can relay the offer as it stands to Miss Lewison.
Okay, so we're not ready to go in that position either. And we can't take any other positions because they're on Mr. McLean.
I have position 9 as a private attorney.
It's a check.
Oh, there's an announcement in the chat. He did not receive notice of today. So we will reset that case till next Tuesday's SAP.
You're gonna reset it to next Tuesday?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Finley, will you email him back and tell him then that his case is being reset? Since you said you just spoke with Scott Smith?
Oh, sorry, Judge, I didn't realize you're talking to me. Yeah, I called him.
Oh, you called him?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
because I saw that, I usually try to look out for private attorneys if they're not on. So yeah, he said he didn't have notice and he asked if I could announce to reset him.
He'll be reset if you'll continue to look out for him and let him know he's reset to Tuesday.
Your Honor, I think someone is in the courtroom for Mr. Ferguson also.
Oh, Mr. Ferguson's case will not be held today. It's gonna be reset to Tuesday. All right? Yes. The next state all-purpose calendar at 9.
So August the 9th? Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, can I just ask, are we waiting on the Mr.
know.
Garcia being moved to another, because he's still in the jail.
Okay, is it possible to move position, Mr. Garcia, so that we can finally take this? We only have about 15 minutes.
He's on it now, Judge. Sir. Yes.
All right. And we'll be on hold, I believe. I don't think there's anything else we can do.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I can have before you Miss Woods.
Who represents?
That's Mr. McLean.
That's Mr. McLean's
No,
client.
I actually, I'm actually handling Miss Wood's case.
Okay, wonderful.
And I think it actually would be a negotiated plea. Once I review the calendar, it looks like she's done a few stints in jail. So in total, it looks like she's already served 15 days, which would give her the 30 days with 2 for 1. So counsel can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that makes it negotiated.
Okay, so I just want to double check.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Like
Let's
if you look
ver-
at the bottom of the calendar, it looks like she's been to jail previously twice on this, and then her current stint will give her an additional 8 days, which would come to 15.
Okay.
So please double check.
Can we verify, Ms. Champion, how long Ms. Woods has been in jail?
So for this, for the booking number, it says 8 days.
Right, that's for the most recent stint. But if you look at the calendar, it looks like she's been incarcerated twice on this charge before. Like she's done two.
Oh, I see what you say, 5 days and 2 days and 2 days.
5 + 2 + 8 is 15. I think I'm not the best with math.
I don't attempt anymore, so,
Do you see what I'm saying, Your Honor? With her 3 stints in jail, I think she's
right,
served
if
15
you think the
days.
time has been, with the
That's the state's
state,
opinion.
okay, in light of that, would the state agree to amend it to less days at this point,
That's
just to ensure?
whatever's
Yeah,
easy.
if we could amend it to less, just to,
Like, let's say
just to make
credit
sure.
12
16
months to
days.
serve, 24 days, credit for 11 days, I don't know, just whatever.
We'll do 16 days since the
Yeah, if we
current one
can-
says 8, so no one gets confused.
Okay.
Yeah, if we don't mind. I totally, trust Mr.
Okay.
Walker. I just want to make sure.
No, I know, credit for time served.
Hey, where is he? Are we in the right courtroom?
I don't even know how to respond to that. Who's speaking? Who was just speaking?
You can go ahead, Judge. That's somebody that, she keeps on muting herself. I'm about to put her out the room.
Okay, Mr. Jordan, would you mind chatting that person for
I
me
ain't
just to
chatting
see
now
what's
with her. I'm
happening?
just removing her.
Okay, well, there's that as well. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Jordan. It's never boring around here. All right. The South Annex has not heard their rights. Can I give the defendants all their rights at once? All defendants, please.
Your Honor, Ms. Lewison, she is talking to her attorney. So as soon as she finishes, I'll have her come back.
All right. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Ms. Woods, anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney at this proceeding today. Before we go back, I see that Mr. McLean is back. Did we ever take care of this interpretation case or no?
Not yet, Your Honor.
Okay,
Right, we're just looking for the breakout symbol.
okay. And I don't see courtroom 3 online, so maybe that's part of the challenge. All right, Ms. Woods, the announcement we have is that this is now going to be a negotiated plea. I believe that's correct, Mr. Finley.
Yes, now with the jail time, it is negotiated plea.
All right, Mr. Walker, very briefly, can I have the factual basis here and the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant will be pleading to 1 count of battery family violence. The state will be null processing all additional counts. To that 1 count, the state's offer is 12 months to serve 16 days, credit for time served 8 days, balance probated with the conditions of FVIP, a stay away from the incident location, which is 1181 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, and no further contact with the victim, Shakira Bellows.
Sharika.
Can you spell that and what
SHAK
position is this, please?
26. What?
No, this is 30.
30. I'm sorry, yeah, position 30.
What was the
No-
name again, Mr.?
Shakira,
Sharika.
SHAKERA, last name Bellows, BELLOWS. In this case, Your Honor, on June 9th of 2020, APD was dispatched to the incident location. After speaking to the victim, she advised that she got into an altercation with her father's girlfriend at that time. The defendant did strike the victim in her head, leaving a bruise, and bit her on her forearm, which left a bite mark that the officer did observe. At the time, the defendant was taken into custody and charged with battered family violence.
All right, thank you. Mr. Finley, was that your understanding of the offer, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, ID, and venue?
Yes, Your Honor, that is our understanding of the offer, of which we do agree, and I do stipulate the factual basis, venue and ID. I would just ask that the probation fees could be waived for Ms. Woods for a period of time, and also that once she completes the condition of the family violence course, if she can be on non-reporting.
All right, I will waive 3 months of fees. Once she's completed the FVIP, she can go non-reporting. Your client, Ms. Woods, I'm gonna ask you some questions to make sure you're voluntarily taking this plea, all right? Can we unmute that South Annex? Thank you, sorry to make you run. All right, I'm gonna ask you some questions to make sure you're taking the plea voluntarily, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, put your hand down. Thank you. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with Mr. Finley's representation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by taking a plea today, you're giving up your right to go to court regarding this case and challenge the evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
And you, did anyone offer you anything in exchange for taking a plea?
No, ma'am.
And you understand the state would have had to prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt, and you're
Yes.
giving up that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand the requirements. You should not have additional jail time to serve. However, you are gonna have to complete that family violence intervention course. And you have to stay away from that location on Joseph Boone and have no contact whatsoever with Ms. Bellows. You understand
Yes,
that?
yes, ma'am.
All right. And you're prepared to comply with all of those requirements, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. As to the charge of battery family violence, Ms. Woods, how do you plead?
Ma'am.
And how do you plead to the charge of battery family violence?
Yes, ma'am. Guilty.
All right, I accept your guilty plea. If there's nothing further from either the state or the defense, that will complete Ms. Woods' case. All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Woods. Any announcement on our interpreter case? Down to the wire.
And also, since we're already at South Annex, I'm also covering position 25. 25.
Did you already speak to your client, Mr. Finley?
Yes, I did already meet with her.
All right.
It's Miss Erica Samuel, 25.
All right, what we may do is we'll start with Samuel, but if the interpreter case comes back, we will stop mid.
It is a negotiated plea as well, Judge, so it should be pretty quick.
All right, let's hope it goes quickly. Can we have Erica Samuel, please? All right, we're done with Ms. Woods. All right.
Okay. Maybe. You finished? Next, we have, I'm sorry, are you finished with the?
Yes, can we take Erica Samuel?
Have a few different. We have, Miss Kane here. Keisha King.
I think Ms. Ping might be Mr. McLean's client, so we
Okay.
can't take that position.
Ms. Lewison is talking to her attorney,
Oh,
Kim
I
Lewis.
have, oh, sorry, my bad.
We were asking about position 25, whether we could take that one.
For the sign?
And I have Kane as well,
Okay,
and that's a negotiated plea, so.
well, I guess we could take either of those then.
Have a seat here. This is Ms. King.
Okay, we can take that position. What position number is that?
Position 5, Judge.
Position 5. All right, good morning, Ms. King. Your case is 21 CR 004127E, in which you're charged with criminal trespass and damage to property, as well as simple assault with the offense date of 9/11/2020. You have the absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of the case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney today. Mr. Finley, this is a negotiated plea. All right, whose case is this for the state, Ms. Mitchell?
Yes,
Will
Your
you
Honor.
please give me the state's plea offer as well as very, very briefly the factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor, the defendant criminally the plea recommendation, as to the criminal trespass is gonna be time served, credit for 11 days, balance suspended. And the simple assault is going to be 12 months to serve, 22 days, credit for time served, 11 days, balance probated. No further contact with Willie Williams. Stay away from Wendy's on 35 Hamilton E. Holmes Drive, Northwest Atlanta. 8-week anger management, 40 hours community service, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
Right. And very briefly, the factual basis.
Yes, Your Honor, my apologies. I didn't pull up my notes for the negotiated pleas, the facts. For
All
the
right.
1 second.
I just make sure that very briefly, the facts on the record such that when defense stipulates, we know what we're all stipulating to. Very
Yes, ma'am.
briefly, just a very brief summary.
Will do. Your Honor, the defendant, on September 11th of 2020, assaulted I believe the manager, which is Mr. Willie Williams at Wendy's, by throwing a punch at him. He also spat on him.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mr. Finley, was that your understanding of the plea offer here today? And do you stipulate to factual basis ID and venue?
Yes, Judge. And we would just ask that once Ms. Kane does complete the condition of the anger management and the community service, and if she could be on a non-reporting status, and additionally, if probation fees could be waived for a period of time for Ms. Kane.
All right, I will waive 2 months of the fees, and she can go non-reporting once the requirements are complete. All right, Ms. Kane, I'm going to place you under oath for the purposes of taking a plea. Can you raise your right hand, please? I'm sorry? I can't understand what you're saying.
Because I said I didn't hear you. Do you mind repeating that?
Oh, yes. Will you please raise your right hand? I'm going to place you under oath just so that I can take a plea today to make sure that you're voluntarily taking it, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today for the limited purposes of taking a plea will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You put your hands down. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you in this case today?
Yes, ma'am.
Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea?
No, ma'am.
Did anyone promise you anything?
No, ma'am.
And you understand that by taking the plea, you're giving up your right to have the state prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt and to present any defenses you may have had.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are prepared to waive your right to a further court date. You realize you won't have any other court dates. This is it. You understand that?
Yes, so you're telling me this is the only court date that I will have?
Yes, you're giving up your right to go to court to prove anything further. Once you plead guilty, that will be the end of this case, and that guilty plea goes onto your record. You understand that, and you want to go forward?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you understand the requirements that you have to complete an 8-week anger management course, and you also have to complete 40 hours of community service. But by my calculation, you should not have additional time to serve at the Fulton County Jail. You understand those requirements?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, as to the charges of criminal trespass and damage to property, as well as simple assault, how do you plead, Ms. Kane?
I plead guilty.
All right, I accept your guilty plea, and that will conclude your case if there's nothing further from either the state or the defense at this time. All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Kane. That's the end of your case. All right? Take care. All right, take care. All right, let's check on our interpreter case. Any luck there? And I believe we might be out of time as well.
They're still in the breakout room, Judge.
Okay. All right, is there another position we can go to that
Yes,
does not?
ma'am. We have position 17.
Is that Mr. McLean's? That's Mr. McLean's. We can't do that one.
Okay.
Well, let me make sure. What's
We could do, Mr. Lynch, do you have a position at South Annex too?
that's his position, Mr. Lynch.
Yes, Your Honor, I apologize. Ms. Lewison, I did relay.
Oh, okay, that's correct. I apologize. We can do Ms. Lewison. What is your announcement?
Your Honor, this is going to be a negotiated plea. She's accepted the offer from the state. I just wanted to make a request as to probation fees at the appropriate time.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Lewison, your case number is 22 CR 004726E, in which you're charged with simple battery against a person who's 65 years old or who was pregnant, as well as simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass with the offense date of April the 22nd of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
I do. I didn't know that last charge who was pregnant.
Oh, it might be against someone who is 65. Once we get into the facts, we'll speak again, all right?
Okay.
All right. You do understand your rights, though? Let's clarify that for the record. Do you understand your rights?
What are my rights?
All right, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of the case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney at this proceeding today. Do you understand those rights?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Dudley, can I please have the state's offer as well as the factual basis and a clarification of whether it was the 65 older or the pregnancy at issue in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, wait, are we ready with the interpretation case?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe.
All right, we're gonna put position 17 on hold. Everyone hold. All right, let's try to do this as quickly as possible. Mr. McLean, what is the announcement for position 6? Ms. McLean,
Number 6
muted.
is a negotiated plea, Your Honor. I'm sorry, I was muted.
All right, it'll be a negotiated plea. All right, Mr. Jose Chalene Garcia, your case is 17 CR 0010479F, in which you're charged with driving without a valid license and tag light required.
Señor José Chilín García, usted está aquí por el caso 17 CR 0010479F con dos acusaciones. Una es de manejar sin una licencia de conducir válida y la segunda es de no tener las luces apropiadamente.
The offense date of these charges was April the 23rd of 2015.
La fecha de estas ofensas fue el 23 de abril del 2015.
You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of the case can and will be used against you.
Tiene usted el derecho de permanecer en silencio. Cualquier cosa que usted diga puede ser usada en contra suya.
You also have a right to an attorney today.
También tiene el derecho para tener un abogado el día de hoy.
This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet. It is also being recorded.
Este proceso está siendo hecho por vía de internet y también está siendo grabado.
That means any member of the public can watch this proceeding.
Eso quiere decir que cualquier miembro del público puede ver este proceso.
All right, Ms. Mitchell, if you would put the state's plea offer onto the record as well as the factual basis, leaving time for interpretation.
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is time served, credit for 8 days, balance suspended.
Y su señoría, la recomendación del Estado es el crédito de 8 días que ya ha sido servido y lo demás suspendido.
In this case, on April 23rd of 2015, defendant was seen driving his truck without operating tag lights.
En este caso, el 23 de abril del 2015, el acusado fue observado manejando su camioneta sin las luces de atrás apropiadas.
And once stopped, it was determined he was unlicensed.
Una vez que le detuvieron, fue determinado que no tiene licencia de conducir.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Eso es todo, su señoría.
All right, Mr. McLean, was that your understanding of the plea offer? And do you stipulate to the factual basis, identity, and venue?
It is my understanding, Your Honor, we do so stipulate, and Mr. Garcia wants me to point out that that is also known as, and I'm going to sign for him with his authorization, his correct name, Pedro Solario Guzman, and I'll put AKA, or I'll do it the other way around. I'll sign Jose Chilín Garcia, AKA Pedro Solario Guzman, and that will be for the record room, not to get confused.
Can you please spell that, Mr. McLean?
PEDROSOLORIO -GUZMAN.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm going to briefly interpret, the interpreter is going to briefly interpret the exchange between the judge and Mr. McLean.
Right, it was a lot. Do you have it all? Do we need to
I do.
Okay.
La juez estaba, después de que la fiscalía terminó de decir lo que ya le traduje, la juez le preguntó a su abogado, al señor McLean, si es que él estaba dispuesto, si usted estaba dispuesto a aceptar el acuerdo que fue ofrecido por la fiscalía. Él indicó que sí, que estaban de acuerdo a aceptar ese acuerdo y también que él iba a firmar por usted bajo el nombre José Chilín Guzmán, conocido también como Pedro Solario, perdón, José Chilín García, conocido como Pedro Solario Guzmán.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Garcia, I'm going to ask you some questions to make sure you're voluntarily taking a plea.
Señor García, le voy a hacer ciertas preguntas para asegurarme que usted está tomando este acuerdo de forma voluntaria.
Will you please raise your right hand?
Levante su mano derecha, por favor.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
¿Jura usted que el testimonio que nos dará aquí el día de hoy será la verdad, solo la verdad y nada más que la verdad bajo palabra de Dios?
Lo juro.
I swear.
Thank you. You can put your hand down.
Gracias. Puede bajar su mano.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
En este momento, ¿está usted bajo la influencia de algún medicamento, droga o alcohol?
No.
No.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation?
¿Está satisfecho usted con la representación del abogado suyo?
Sí.
Yes.
Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today?
¿Alguien le forzó para tomar este acuerdo el día de hoy?
No.
No.
Did anyone promise you anything?
¿Le prometió a alguien algo? ¿Alguna cosa?
No.
No.
Do you understand that by taking this plea today, you're giving up your right to go to court and present any defenses you would have had?
¿Entiende usted que al tomar este acuerdo el día de hoy, usted está renunciando al derecho de ir a la corte a un juicio y presentar cualquier defensa que usted tenga?
Sí.
Yes.
And you're also giving up your right to have the state prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Y también está renunciando al derecho de hacer que la fiscalía compruebe todas estas acusaciones más allá de cualquier duda posible.
Sí.
Yes.
And you understand that the time that you served in Fulton County Jail will essentially close out your case?
¿Entiende usted, comprende usted que el tiempo que usted ha servido en la cárcel del condado de Fulton es todo lo que va a servir y pone una finalización a este caso?
Sí.
Yes. And all right, as to the charges of driving without a valid license and driving without the tag light as required by the laws of the state of Georgia, how do you plead?
En las acusaciones de manejar sin una licencia del estado de Georgia válida y manejar sin las luces requeridas bajo la ley del estado de Georgia, ¿cómo se declara?
Culpable.
Guilty.
All right, I accept your guilty plea. I believe that will conclude this case if there's nothing from Ms. Mitchell or Mr. McLean.
Yo acepto cómo se declara usted y me parece que eso está completo el caso, a menos que alguien más tenga que hablar, la señora Mitchell o el señor McLean.
Nothing more, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. That concludes your case.
Eso es todo para su caso. Buena suerte, señor.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes that case. Thank you so much. You're free to go. We appreciate your help today.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Judge, can we do position 26?
Okay, can I finish this? Let me finish this South Annex position, then we'll go right to 26.
Okay.
All right, we were on Ms. Lewinson. It was a negotiated plea. She indicated that she understood her constitutional rights. And Mr. Dudley was going to give us a factual basis as well as the state's offer.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident took place on April 22nd of 2022, where the defendant pushed multiple times the victim, Alexandria Swan and Deborah Swan, and also pulled off and broke Ms. Deborah Swan's glasses, Deborah Swan being the defendant's mother and Alexandria Swan being the defendant's daughter. Upon arrival, officers also observed the defendant holding on to Miss Deborah Swan, and Miss Deborah Swan being her mother is of 67 years old, I believe, which ties into simple battery against a person who is 65 years or older. And the state's recommendation is going to be 12 months to serve, 28 days, credit for time served, 14 days. One is probated a family violence intervention program with no further contact with Deborah Swan or Alexandria Swan, and stay away from the incident location, 60 hours of community service with no alcohol, drugs, or and to comply with meds and treatment. Nothing further from the state.
All right, Mr. Lynch, was that your understanding of the offer? And do you stipulate to the factual basis, ID, and venue?
We do so stipulate, Your Honor. That was my understanding of the offer. I would request, if this is the appropriate time, if Your Honor would consider waiving probation fees in this case. My understanding is that Ms. Lewison is not able to work at this time. And so, especially with the other costs involved with probation, it's going to be very, it's going to be a hardship for her to be able to have to pay probation fees every month. In addition to, I understand there's costs associated with the family violence intervention program, and as well as transportation to get the community service done. So I would ask the court to consider waiving probation fees in this matter.
I'll waive 6 months of probation fees, and then if she completes requirements by then, she can go non-reporting. All right?
Thank you, Judge. I want to make, if I could, the probation had reached out to me and asked that I provide a good contact number for Ms. Lewison. I do have a cell phone number for her, but I wanted to see if she could confirm that that is still a good number so I can make sure they can reach out to her.
All right, let me take her plea first, and at the end, she can confirm her contact information to make sure she's actually going to take the plea. All right, Ms. Lewison, will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right, you can put your hand down. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation?
Yes.
You sure? You satisfied?
Yes, thus far.
All right. Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today?
No, they haven't.
Did anyone? I'm sorry?
No, they haven't.
Did anyone promise you anything?
Yes, he said that I would be released and that what the probation.
No, that's not what I mean. Did anyone promise you any type of gift or anything in exchange for taking a plea?
No.
All right. Do you understand that by taking a plea today that you are waiving your right to a later court date where the state would have had to prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
And you're prepared to waive your right to a later court date?
Yes.
I need you to understand the requirements of the sentence, that you should not have additional time to serve at the Fulton County Jail, but you do have to complete that family violence intervention program course. You're also going to have to complete 60 hours of community service, and you have to have no further contact with either Deborah Swan or Alexandria Swan, and stay away from the address on Glen Royal Drive. Do you understand all of that, Ms. Lewison?
I understand.
And you wish to take the plea?
Yes.
As to the charges of simple battery against a person who is 65 years or older, simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass, how do you plead?
What was the criminal trespass? I didn't, my attorney didn't discuss with me that charge.
Your Honor, that's actually accurate. I was confused. I thought she was just pleading to the simple battery family violence count.
Let's clarify, Mr. Dudley, what is there is still a criminal trespass charge?
Yes, the plea covers all the charges.
It's one plea for all the charges, but let's clarify what was the nature of the trespass so that we can prove that she's knowingly and willingly taking the plea.
My understanding was for the broken glasses. I believe the state would confirm that.
1 second, Your Honor. I will confirm that. but I believe that is
Officer
correct.
Coley Tatum, Sergeant Benson.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right, did you hear that? Do you still wish to take the plea at this time, Ms. Lewison?
Yes, are those the charges that you reviewed for me, correct?
Yes.
Are there any other charges or is that, okay?
The charges before me are simple battery against a person who's 65 years or older, simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass. How do you plead to those charges, Ms. Lewison?
I wasn't sure how the criminal trespass.
Okay, we're not gonna be able to take this plea today. It is
Your
not
Honor,
some-
Your Honor,
Yeah.
the state is willing to not prosecute criminal trespass if she's willing to plead to the simple batteries.
All right,
If the court would allow it.
If I'm, okay, let's go back to the drawing board there. That sounds agreeable, Mr. Walker. The state is willing to dismiss the criminal trespass charge if you wish to plead guilty to the two charges I listed, which would be the simple battery against the 65-year or older person and the simple battery family violence. Do you wish to plead guilty to those, Ms. Lewison?
Yes.
All right, I accept your guilty plea, Mr. Walker. If you get us that no pros, I appreciate it. Is there any other further outstanding matters? I know we need to confirm contact information. Ms. Lewison, can you confirm or can someone help her put into the chat the best phone number so that we're not saying it onto the record? We need to put some contact information into the
phone
chat.
number, Ms. Lewis?
And Your Honor, is there plea paperwork that I need to sign on her behalf? I've discussed with her that she'll likely need to sign plea paperwork over at the jail, but I don't have
Yes,
a.
we'll have to do the same, we'll have to undergo the same process we went before, whereby the state will send the paperwork to you, Mr. Lynch, and Mr. Lynch, the paperwork will then be sent to the jail, and I'm hoping we can do that before the conclusion of the calendar.
And what if he signs on her behalf, does it still need to be sent to the judge?
Well, yeah, I guess so, you can sign. Has your client given you express permission, Mr. Lynch, to sign on her behalf?
She has not. Ms. Lewison, do I have permission to sign the plea paperwork indicating that you're pleading to simple battery, family violence, simple battery on a person 65 years or older, to sign that paperwork on your behalf?
Who is Mr. Walker?
I'm the prosecutor.
He's a prosecutor assigned to this case.
Ms. Lewison,
Okay, let's go back to this. Ms. Lewison, your attorney's asking if he can sign the paperwork that's gonna get you out of jail. Do you give him permission to sign for you? Or do you want the jail to still scan the documents to you and then have you sign and countersign? And there's no guarantee we would get that before the conclusion of court today. It is your right to sign your own papers if you'd like, but would you like Mr. Lynch to sign for you?
That's fine.
All right. All right, is there anything further from either the state or the defense as it pertains to this case?
nothing from the defense at this time, Your Honor.
All right.
Ms. Lewison, position 25. Lewison, have a seat over there, please.
Ms.
Thank you.
Lewison, that's the end of your case. Thank you.
Oh, Your Honor, did we confirm the phone the contact number?
She says she does not have one.
Oh,
My phone was,
well, I need to make her an appointment right quick. I'm sorry, Your Honor, so she can show up.
Okay.
Or I could just send
you
it to
can
the
use
lawyer.
the jail number or my probation where I have to go to probation. My phone is. Or you can use the 678-461-4378, but that is the location. I was living there
That's not gonna work.
on the date of this incident, so. after
We have
that,
to have a current address. Hold on, we have hold one moment, hold one, wait a second. This may not be possible. Hold on. very briefly, can I be putting a breakout with Mr. Lynch, Mr. Walker, and Mr. Dudley? You're right.
Ms. Lewison, do I have permission to sign the plea paperwork indicating that you're pleading to simple battery, family violence, simple battery?
But I'm hoping we can do that before the conclusion of the calendar.
And what if he signs on her behalf, is it still need to be sent?
Well, yeah, I guess so. You can sign. Has your client given you express? All right, after discussion with counsel from both sides, we will go forward and accept Ms. Lewis's plea. Are there any other outstanding issues? If not, that will conclude her case. Anything further from either the state or the defense as it pertains to Ms. Lewison?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Lewison. That concludes your case, all right?
Next, we have position
Once I
25.
receive the paperwork.
We're gonna give it to you.
All right, position, and we need to clarify the address I'm sorry, we do, before Ms. Lewison goes, there was no address, so I know we interrupted in the middle of that, Mr. Lynch. What was the address situation?
So I believe where she previously was, she's barred from going back. From our
Right.
discussion, she does have a place to go, but I don't have the exact address.
Ms. Lewison, do you have the address of where you'll be going?
Not until I'm released. I'll go to the address.
Okay, so we need to go ahead and make your first appointment, I believe, with probation now, so that you know to report right away, so you don't end up in violation. All right?
Okay.
All right. So the 18th at 9:30.
Okay, so can someone at South Annex write that down for her?
I'm writing down.
Thank you, at 9:30, and can you give her the address where she needs to report?
Yeah, I was giving it to her. 132 Mitchell Street.
132
Yes, Mitchell Street.
Mitchell Street. And can you give me the zip code?
Yes, ma'am. 30303.
Okay.
So I don't have to report after being released immediately?
No.
No, you report on that date. They're making you an appointment, okay? Don't miss your appointment.
Okay.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Lewison. We're going to, I think we said position 20.
25.
Okay, position 25.
Go sit over there now. Come on.
All right, are you Erica Samuel?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Samuel, your case is 22 CR 004871F. I am not gonna sound the charge at this time, but the offense date was December the 18th of 2021. Do you understand your constitutional rights today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I have that this is a negotiated plea. Mr. Dudley, will you please put the plea recommendation onto the record? And I'd like some factual basis to the extent that you can without exposing exactly what took place here, as best you can. You know,
Yes,
that's a difficult task, but I believe you're up to it, Mr. Dudley.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident took place on July 11th of 2022 at 4060 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Atlanta. And the defendant was confronted by Officer Lyons and basically was told to put on a shirt that fit. The defendant did not comply and refused, and as such was charged with the charge that we will not sound. And the state's recommendation is time served, 124 days, balance suspended, stay away from the incident location. Nothing further from the state.
All right, Mr. Finley, was that your understanding of the offer? And do you stipulate to the factual basis ID and venue in this case?
I do, Judge.
All right, Miss Samuel, I'm gonna ask you some questions to make sure you're voluntarily taking the plea. Essentially, the time you serve will close your case, but you cannot go back to 4060 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what is, I'm sorry, what was 4060? Is that the MARTA station? What is that address? It's a business.
That's the gas station.
Okay, don't go back to that gas station, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you receive, that you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today?
Yes.
You were forced to take a plea?
Oh, no.
Okay, did anyone promise you anything in exchange for taking a plea?
No, ma'am.
And you understand that you're not gonna have any later court date whereby you can dispute these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're prepared to waive your right to a later court date?
Yes.
And you understand that you can absolutely not go back to 4060 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive?
Yes.
As to the charge that I will not sound, but you are aware of, how do you plead, Ms. Samuel?
Guilty.
I accept your guilty plea, and if there's nothing further from either party, that will conclude our case. Hearing nothing further, best of luck to you, Ms. Samuel.
Okay, so am I going home today or no?
If you don't have other, this case is no longer holding you in. If you don't have other holds, you should be released. I'm unaware if you have other holds or not.
Okay, there was something about housing. Is that settled yet or no?
I think you should call Mr. Finley and ask him about any other holds or things that might be
Yeah, I
holding.
can
you.
touch base with you.
Okay, I don't have his phone number.
Okay, I'll be at the jail early on Monday and I'll come by and see you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
All right,
Thank
best of luck to you. Who do we have next?
Thank you.
Position 26.
Okay. All right, good morning. Your case number, Mr. Taylor, is 22 CR 004717F, in which you're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of July 20th of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, thank you. The announcement, Mr. McLean, that I see is that this is a negotiated plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McLean, you're muted.
I'm on mute. That's correct, Your Honor. Negotiated plea. It's time
Okay.
served, balance suspended.
And stay away from Lennox Mall. All right. I am gonna ask you some questions after Mr. Walker puts the state's recommendation as well as the very limited factual basis onto the record. All right, Mr. Taylor? All right, Mr. Walker, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation to the one count of criminal trespass is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance suspended with the condition of a stay away from Lennox Mall located at 3393 Peachtree Road. On the day in question, the defendant was asked to leave the mall after he was seen harassing several customers. After he refused to leave, law enforcement was dispatched to the scene. He was asked to leave again, where he refused, and at that time, he was taken into custody and charged with criminal trespass.
All right, Ms. McLean, was that your understanding of the offer? And do you stipulate to the factual basis ID and venue?
It is our understanding. We do so stipulate.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time, Mr. Taylor, I'm gonna ask you some questions. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to the best? Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you doing your best. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You can put your hand down. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No, Your Honor, I'm detoxed from drug, alcohol, and marijuana.
All right. Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you understood this proceeding today?
Yes,
Do you understand what's happening today, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And did anyone force you to take a plea?
No, Your Honor.
And do you understand that by taking the plea, you're waiving your right to go to court?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are waiving the right to have the state prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you understand that the time you serve will essentially close your case, but you can't go back to Lennox Mall. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. In the case 22 CR 004717F, in which you're charged with criminal trespass, Mr. Taylor, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
I accept your guilty plea. Do not go back to Lennox Mall, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I believe that concludes Mr. Taylor's case. Best of luck to you, sir, unless there's anything further from either party. All right, hearing none, I believe that's it. Best of luck to you, Mr. Taylor. All right.
Position 21. Don't be waiting for me.
All right, the announcement I have is that this will be a negotiated plea.
Your Honor, it is important to check up on a detail based on what the defendant told me about previous conversations in court session. He believed this was going to be no further violent contact, and without that stay away that was listed. Is that correct?
Okay, Mr. Dudley. Well, let me read Mr. McCaffrey his rights. Mr. Sir, your case number 22 CR 004563B in which you're charged with battery family violence with the offense date of June the 13th of 2022. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney today, and this proceeding is being broadcast over the internet, recorded. That means that any member of the public can log on and watch this. Do you understand those constitutional rights as I've just explained them to you? I believe you're saying yes. Can he be muted at 4 North? I mean, unmuted. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Dudley, let's clarify the state's offer as well as the factual basis. Is this going to be a no further violent contact, or is it a no further contact?
This is going to be no further contact, and the state's full offer is 12 months to serve, 36 days, credit for time served, 18 days, with the balance probated, a family violence intervention program with no further contact with the victim, Melissa Charlotte. They stay away from 2280 Camilton Road Southwest, 40 hours of community service, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. On June 13th of 2022, the defendant and the victim, Melissa Charlotte, were in a physical altercation where the defendant hit the victim, Miss Charlotte, in the head with a glass bomb, threw a cell phone at her stomach, and punched her and slapped her. At the time, she was 17 weeks pregnant with their second child. As such, he was charged with battery and family violence. Nothing further from the state.
All right, Mr. McLean, I understand that your client wishes to have no further violent contact. If I accept the state's recommendation, does he still want to take this plea?
Your Honor, his description to me of the previous court session was that the alleged victim was present and that was clarified. And so we do have some miscommunication, or we do have some disagreement, whichever, going on. So I do need to speak privately with him and explain that if the state is maintaining this position, I need to speak privately, perhaps in a breakout briefly, to find out if he wants this recommendation or not.
We're going to sound for Miss Charlotte. Is Miss Charlotte present today? All right, Miss Charlotte does not appear to be present. If Mr. McLean could go into a breakout with this defendant to clarify that point, and if not, we can proceed non-negotiated. Are there other announcements regarding any of the positions today?
I have not, I don't know where Mr. Dominatella and Mr. Paris are. They were both going to be time served pleas, but I have not, I don't know if they're still coming.
I believe that courtroom 2 is gone, so I guess those people would be at 4 North if possible. I don't think that we can even go to another position, Mr. Finley, while Mr. McLean is in that breakout.
Yeah.
I suppose we'll be on a brief hold, so we are still holding for position 2. Is there an announcement? Or 2 do not bring. 3 we took care of. 4 do not bring. 5 we took the negotiated plea. 6 we took a plea. We're holding for 7 and 8. Position 9 will be reset. Position 10, I'm assuming we're holding for position 10 as well.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Can Mr. Jordan, Ms. Jordan, will you put Mr. McLean in the breakout with 4 North?
You know, let me mention too, number 22 and 23 are ready, I think also.
All right. I don't see where they are. 10 and 11. Oh, 11 we're not bringing, we're holding for 10. 12 will be reset, and 13 as well. We took care of 14 and 15 and 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we're holding for position 22, 23. What about 27 and 28? It says hold for, and are those Mr. McLean's as well?
Yes, Judge, those are Mr. McLean's as well.
I think Mr. Howard probably actually handling those cases. We probably need to do a breakout or maybe even wait to the competency calendar.
All right,
But whatever the court's pleasure.
okay. 20,
That's Travell Walker, Mr. Howard.
oh, position 11 has been transferred, okay.
Yeah, I need that order.
Can someone send me the felony transfer order for position 11 as well? As well as any malpractice?
Your Honor,
Yes, Ms.
for
Mitchell.
position 11, I have the paperwork ready, but I'm getting clarification from the DA's office. His criminal history is a little confusing, but we'll get that to you today.
All right, thank you. All right, 27. 29 has been released. So we're holding on quite a few positions. We could start the competency calendar in the meantime. Mr. Finley, you're shaking your head. There's someone else you're waiting for? I'm always trying to get everyone
Let's-
finished by lunch if I can.
Sorry, Judge, I was shaking my head at someone else talking to me.
Okay, okay, we're gonna go into the breakout then and start well, I don't know, we might be that we're right back at 4 North.
Right. I need a couple minutes to get to my calendar for the conference.
That's fine, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, so position 10, it looks like he actually has a signature bond. I mean, I don't know where 7 and 8 are, but they're both going to be time served. So hope we can
Okay,
get them in.
so
but if
10
not-
bonded out, or he
Oh,
signed it?
no, 10 actually has, I had down a bond hearing, but it looks like he actually has a signature bond. So that's not as imminent,
Okay,
so that kind of bond is.
right, that was my next question. Has he been previously, has number 10 been arraigned?
No, he does need to be arraigned.
If he's not brought, Mr. Finley, would you sign a formal waiver of arraignment?
Yes, I can.
So let's resolve it either way. Hopefully he'll be brought and I can arraign. If not,
Okay.
please send that waiver of arraignment.
All right, will do, Judge.
All right, we'll be in a recess until 4 North returns. Mr. Walker, did you ever get plea paperwork back on position 3 from the jail? Mr. Walker might be gone.
Now.
Miss Charlotte, are you here for a particular case?
I'm here for Kevin McAfee's case. His public defender just called me and I'm just waiting for somebody to talk to me. You can
Okay,
hear
hold
me,
on.
correct?
I can hear you. Hold on.
Are they still in the breakout, Mr. Jordan?
Yes,
I
Judge.
wasn't able to
It's
hear.
still in the breakout room.
All right, we are back at 4 North. Before we begin, Mr. Walker, are you here?
I'm here, Your Honor.
I wanted to clarify first, did you get that paperwork back from position 3?
Was that with Mr. Lynch?
No, that was Mr. Bethea, but he had the
Oh,
private
yeah,
attorney.
I've sent, okay.
I don't think we got the countersigned with the defendant's signature.
Okay, let me send that right now.
All right, and also this non-jail plea calendar, Mr. Walker.
It's going to be a reset. The attorney had a conflict, so we're going to ask that it's reset to next Thursday's non-jail plea calendar.
All right, so we'll reset that. All right, Mr. McLean, after speaking with your client, does he want to go forward with the negotiated plea as set by the state?
Your Honor, I think we could go forward with an unnegotiated plea. Miss Melissa Charlotte is now on Zoom with us.
All right, before we hear from Miss Charlotte, I'm gonna hear from Miss Harrison. Miss Harrison, are you still with us? Can I have this defendant's history, please?
What position?
Position 21.
One moment.
And has the defendant in fact been in jail for 18 days? Or is it 14 days?
Probably more than 14 if he was arrested on 7/16.
Okay, I just want to clarify, this is essentially supposed to be time served. The only issue here is the contact.
The contact would then necessarily impact the practicality of the stay away.
All right, Ms. Harrison, whenever you're ready.
3 cycles, last arrest October of 2020 for burglary, 1st degree in Clayton County. Record indicates the defendant is on probation for that charge. 21 CR 00400. Sentenced May of 2021, 1 year confinement and 4 years probation. Nothing further to add.
All right, thank you, Ms. Harrison. All right, Mr. Dudley, it's been quite some time. Will you refresh me again as to the facts of this case very briefly?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, in this incident, the defendant assaulted the victim, Melissa Charlotte, inside their apartment while in a physical altercation. He hit her over the head with a glass ball, threw a cell phone at her stomach, and punched and slapped her, all the while she was 17 weeks pregnant with their 2nd child.
All right, and the state is requesting, again, give me the state's recommendation.
The recommendation is 12 months to serve, 36 days, credit for time served, 18 days, balance probated, a family violence intervention program, no further contact with Melissa Charlotte, and a stay away from the incident location, 2280 Camden Road, Southwest, with 40 hours of community service, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, Mr. McLean, I will hear from Ms. Charlotte, but your position, Mr. McLean.
Our position would be that the FVIP or DVIP is appropriate. He's willing to do that. The 40 hours community service is appropriate. He's certainly willing to do that. We'd like to hear from Ms. Charlotte as to the stay away and the no further contact versus violent contact. That's basically it.
And you indicated that previously there was an offer for that was what I wanted to clarify with you.
Well, he told me in our interview that in court session, Ms. Charlotte had been in communication before. And so he thought that was, he felt it was established. He said a judge, he wasn't saying it was Your Honor. He said a judge heard from her and took away that, he took away that restraining order, something like that.
Well, let me see, Mr. Chairman, can I see his bond order? Ms. Charlotte, if you'd like to make a statement today, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what would you like to tell the court at this time?
He was reset from last Thursday.
So that might have still been an issue. So I signed this order. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Charlotte.
So I attended the first court and everything, and the judge said that she would lift the restraining order because I would need the restraining order lifted because I have to go to school and somebody has to watch our son. And with him not being around, I won't have anyone to watch my son and I won't be able to attend school. So with that being said, is there any way possible that that restraining order can be lifted?
All right, I'm trying to figure out what happened. I signed this bond.
He was on the SAP.
He was on last week's SAP. Judge Law was here, right? And Ms. McLean, why didn't that plea happen last week?
I think Ms.
I
Helen,
have no idea. I was out of state last week.
Okay,
Ms. Helen was the attorney last week.
Ms. Helen was the attorney of record. All right, do you have any fear or concern for your safety, Ms. Charlotte? And
No,
if
ma'am.
you're only concerned about your child, would a third-party transfer of the child not take care of that issue with childcare? The court is just exploring all options here.
Well, as far as that, I would rather him be with our son than anyone else because I don't have.
Well, no,
anyone else.
what I'm saying is not a third, it wouldn't be necessarily that he couldn't be with the child. When we say a third-party transfer, what that means is that you would give the child to someone else and that person would pick the child up from there. So we're not speaking in terms of him having access to his child. We're speaking in terms of him having access to you, any concerns you have for your own safety and your own desire for contact. Pretend for a moment, just for the court's exploration.
No, I
whether-
don't have any concerns.
Okay, that was the court's question. I really want to figure out what happened last week and why this plea didn't take place.
Cause she said that she would lift the restraining order and he would attend anger management classes.
Right, but then there's
and-
something took place where this plea didn't take place last week, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Hold for one moment, please.
All right.
Is Miss Helen working today by any chance? I understand that it's not necessarily, but I do want to understand what happened last week. Does anyone know what happened? Ms. McLean was not here. Mr. Finley, were you here last week? What took place? Why didn't this plea take place last week?
With which case, Judge?
Mr. McCaffey? I just want to understand what happened last week. If all was clarified, then this plea would have taken place. And I want to make sure this is not a forum shopping. It probably is not, but the court just wants to inquire, why was this plea not taken last week?
Okay, I'm gonna,
Does anyone remember?
kind of all I have to go off of is I'm gonna look at my announcements for him and like when she emailed me her announcements.
I'm sure
Which-
it's the
which-
same announcement, but what I don't want to do is counteract
Yeah.
what happened last week. Mr. Walker, by any chance, were you
I'm
here
on Your
last
Honor.
week?
I think I actually might have something.
Right, because what I want to clarify what.
Which
took place.
SAP was it, Judge?
It would have been.
Okay, so I
SAP
had
that's what-
that it was a plea,
Yes,
a non-negotiated plea. Judge Law accepted the state's recommendation. Defense was not happy with the result, so they withdrew.
right. So the plea, basically Judge Law issued no contact.
That is correct. It's in
So
our
just,
notes.
right,
They
that, and I
withdrew the
had a
plea.
feeling that that's what happened, that's what, and I'm inclined to accept, I'm not gonna undo what Judge Law said. So what I'm gonna say, Mr. McLean, does your client want to take this plea as, what I don't want is people resetting to SAP non-negotiated to change what a prior judge has already established. So my question is, if Judge Law issued no contact last week, that is what would stand if he takes the plea today. Does he still want to take that plea?
Let me ask him in breakout room. So that was somebody, so the
What,
judge
what,
referred
what
to,
has happened is Judge Law last week, if he took the plea last week with her, it would have been a no contact order apparently. And I am not gonna undo it based upon my own thoughts and pleas, because this is not the forum to change what a prior judge has already done. So
Sure.
my question is, if he takes it, I would accept Judge Law's recommendation from last week.
I probably do need to go into breakout with him briefly, Your Honor, because there must have been a,
Right, I understand.
from what I
but-
was told, I guess they're talking about a different judge on a different.
Right, and I pulled the initial bond order to see, and I actually set the initial bond and made it no contact. So,
And actually, Miss Mitchell was the prosecutor last week who handled it, but I'm actually reading her notes from last week.
okay, okay, we just need to, again, the state all-purpose calendar is not, if one judge initiates a plea offer based upon their review, I will uphold that judge's decision. So the question is whether or not he wants to take the plea that was determined by Judge Law last week.
Right, I've got to check on how ready the bond is. So if I could talk to him in a brief breakout, I'll ask him if somebody.
All right, that's fine. Very briefly, can Mr. McLean go back into that breakout? Are there any other announcements for the other positions though? Is this gonna be the end of the calendar? At Fort North, do you have other positions there?
Only officer that can be going to floor to floor for the other defendants.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I am the only officer that gonna be assigned to the floor to be handling the other defendants.
Okay, so that you will be bringing other people after this person.
They don't.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah,
I think he was saying he had some defendants on another floor, Judge, but
Right.
he
He
faded
can't,
out.
he's got it. I got it. Thank you, Mr. Jordan. I appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't the end of the calendar. And Ms. Champion, did you get that paperwork from Mr. Walker?
You should have it now. I just sent it.
All right. Are there any other matters that we can take up while this is happening? It doesn't seem like it.
We still need the null process for position 17 and 30.
If the state will please send the null process for 17 and 30, that would help as well.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm working on it.
All right, thank you. Can't believe it's August. All right, Mr. McLean, your announcement.
Your Honor, he's going to do the negotiated plea and accept the state's terms.
All right, he accepts the state's recommendations. All right, Mr. McAfee, I'm gonna ask you some questions to make sure you are voluntarily taking this plea today. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge under the penalty of perjury? All right, you can put your hand down. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time? Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation? Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today? No one forced you? All right, did anyone promise you anything in exchange for taking your plea?
No.
Are you prepared to waive your rights to a court date whereby you may have been able to provide or prove any defenses in your favor?
Yes.
And you're giving up your right to have the state prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
And you understand the requirements of your sentence, that you are to complete the FVIP class, that you are to stay away from the address on Campbellton Road, and you are to have no further contact with Miss Charlotte. You understand that? As well as complete the 40 hours of community service.
Yes.
As to the charge of battery, family violence, Mr. McAfee, how do you plead?
Guilty.
I accept your guilty plea. If there's nothing further from either the state or defense, that will conclude his case.
Yes, Your Honor, because the FVIP or DVIP course is 24 weeks, we would ask the court to give as large a break as it feels it can on the probation fee.
All right, I will waive 6 months of fees for him.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. All right, is there another position we can go to?
21 and 22, I thought were ready.
Judge, like I was saying earlier, I'm the only officer. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the next floor, so give me about 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, no problem.
Okay.
We can probably go to the council.
Sorry, I was in break chat, so.
Is Mr. Howard back? Could we start the competency calendar?
I'll check.
All right, who do we have it for, Sal?
22.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon, good morning still, Mr. Ponder. Your case is 22 CR 00472 in which you're charged with criminal trespass. Oh, and 23, thank you. You have two cases, and you're also charged in case 21 CR 004265Y with criminal trespass. The offense date for your first case is July the 20th, and the offense date for your second case is the 14th of August. You have the absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney at these proceedings today. Do you understand those rights as I've explained them?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, your case is being broadcast over the internet. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the announcement, Mr. McLean, is still a negotiated plea?
That's correct, Your Honor. These are somewhat similar, a year apart, and the plea bargain offered for the recommendation to the court is acceptable to him.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dudley, if you would put the factual basis very briefly as well as the state's offer for both cases.
Yes, for the case with the date of offense, August 14th of 2021.
I can't hear you.
What was that? Sorry.
Mr. Dudley, if you project a little bit louder, just to make sure you can hear. All
Okay.
right.
Let me know if you guys can hear me now.
I can hear you just fine. Mr. Ponder, are you able to hear?
Yes, now I am, ma'am.
All right.
Concerning the offense on August 14th of 2021, where the defendant was repeatedly given warnings to stay away from the Chevron gas station at 1990 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway, Northwest in Atlanta, and afterwards was arrested for criminal trespass when he did not comply. The state recommends time served, balance suspended, and to stay away from the incident location. Concerning the incident on July 20th of 2022, similar facts again, was given several warnings to vacate the premises and continue to trespass, and was arrested for criminal trespass. The state recommends 12 months to serve, 28 days, credit for time served, 14 days, balance suspended, and to stay away from the incident location. Nothing further from the state.
Are the dispositions of both cases essentially the same? Just want to confirm, or he served more time for position 23?
Ma'am?
I'm asking Mr. Dudley. Mr. Dudley, are you clear? My question is whether or not the disposition of position 22 and 23 are identical, pretty much, or did he serve more time for position 23?
For position 23.
Where you're saying time served?
Yeah, time served. He only served 3 days.
Oh, so it'd be the 3 days. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
All right. Mr. McLean, was that your understanding of the offer, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, ID, and the venue?
It is our understanding. We do so stipulate. I just want to comment, it's the same place, but he's definitely going to turn over a new leaf, he says, because he realizes that that is the place to be stayed away from now. And
All right, wonderful. All right, I'm going to ask you some questions. Mr. Ponder, will you please raise your right hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Ma'am?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Just for the limited purposes of me taking this plea, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to hear me? You can put your hand down.
Now I'm able to hear.
Okay. All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol that would interfere with your ability to understand this proceeding today?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation?
Yes, I am. I am.
Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today?
No, ma'am.
Did anyone promise you anything in exchange for taking a plea?
No, ma'am.
All right. And do you understand that you're not gonna have any further court dates on these two cases, these two charges? That this is it, you're pleading guilty and you don't have any opportunity to present any defenses you may have had?
Yeah, I understand that. Am I getting out today?
We'll get to that, hold on.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
are you waiving your right to have the state prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you understand that you absolutely cannot go back to that Chevron gas station on Donnelly Highway. You understand that?
Absolutely do.
All right, you're gonna stay very far away from that. As to the charges of criminal trespass in case 4724Y and criminal trespass in 4265Y, Mr. Ponder, how do you plead?
Guilty, right?
Yes, we accept your guilty plea. These two cases are no longer holding you in the Fulton County Jail. I am unaware as to whether or not you have other holds. If you don't have other holds, you should be released shortly. But these two cases are no longer holding you in jail, okay?
Yes, ma'am. So they cannot hold me right now. So right now.
Well, I don't know if you have other holds. I don't know that. Mr. McLean, are you aware?
I'm unaware of any other holds. I do hear that these days, under the current conditions, it does take the jail a while to process out, because part of the processing procedure is to check whether there are other holds. So, Mr. Ponder, you might have to be patient for a day.
All right.
They're processing you out, Mr. Ponder, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right, have a
So I
good
go
day.
home today.
It probably won't be today, but very soon. Best of luck to you, Mr. Ponder, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Main case position 10.
Okay. In this case, it's gonna be a bond hearing, Mr. Finley. Is this Mr. Finley's case? I believe it is.
Yes, Judge. So he actually has a signature bond. Miss Mitchell just let
Well,
me
this
know.
is the
So,
case we discussed earlier, so.
yeah, so we could just arraign.
Okay, I'm gonna arraign your case, Mr. Gray. Apparently, what happened if you have a signature bond as to this particular case, this case is not holding you in jail. So
Right.
what I'm gonna do is we're gonna reset this case for trial, all right? And when I ask you how you plead, you're gonna tell me that you plead not guilty, all right? All right, we do need to unmute him. Mr. Gray, your case is 18 CR 0086288, in which you're charged with battery with the offense date of September the 24th of 2018. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of the case can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney today as well. This particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream, and it is also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch this. Do you understand your rights, Mr. Gray?
Yes.
All right. Whose case is this for the state? Is it Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Mitchell, even though we're gonna arraign this case, will you put the state's offer onto the record at this time? If there is an offer, I believe that there is.
This was, what position was this again?
Position
10.
10.
10. Yes, the offer was 12 months to serve, 30 days, credit for time served, 6 days, balance probated, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, 8-week anger management, 40 hours community service, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
All right. So, Mr. Finley, your client is not interested in taking that offer at this time.
That's correct, Judge.
All right. Mr. Gray, I saw you waving your hand. You have a right to remain silent. I don't want you to say anything. The best thing to do is if you had a question would be to speak to your attorney. It's my understanding that we are not taking the plea. We are arraigning his case. So I will proceed with arraigning your case. All right. Mr. Finley, do you waive a formal reading of the accusation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Gray, in case 18 CR 0086288, you've been charged with battery, which has been formally accused by the Solicitor General of Fulton County here in the state of Georgia. At this time, your case will be reset for trial, and the trial will be scheduled by the state court judge to whom the case is actually assigned. At that trial, you will have the right to an attorney, just as you've had today, and the state represented by the Solicitor General will bear the burden and will have to convince the jury beyond a reasonable doubt in order to get a conviction against you. If they do get that conviction, you can face a sentence of up to 1 year in prison or a fine of $1,000 for this charge. Based upon the information I have presented you at this time, Mr. Gray, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
All right, I accept your not guilty plea. At this time, your case will be reset further notice. All right, best of luck to you, sir. If you have outstanding issues or questions, please call Mr. Finley, who can explain this to you a little bit more thoroughly, all right? All right, have a good day. Does that complete our calendar?
Still had those other two, but I'm not sure if
Okay,
they're.
what was it, 7 and 8? Yep, 7. and
Yeah,
8.
that's correct, 7 and 8.
And they're supposed to be time served, please,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I met with each of them yesterday, so I know they're both there and we're gonna be able to make bond.
Okay.
Your Honor, on number 4, we've been in communication with the state. We should ask for a week for us to discuss this case.
Okay, it's not being reset to a competency calendar. The announcement I have is that 4 needed to go to competency. That's not correct anymore, Mr. McLean?
I don't know about the competency calendar, but I believe Mr. Howard was indicating we should just reset it a week, and if that's incorrect, I can change that.
I'm sorry, who are we discussing?
Position for Denzel Bay. The announcement that I
Wow.
got was reset to competency, but now if it just needs to be reset to state our purpose, we can reset it
Here we
to.
go. Here's Mr. Howard for the correct wording.
That's fine, Judge. Reset to SAP right now.
SAP.
We'll know
Okay.
more next week.
Okay, can we start the competency calendar while we wait for other positions at the jail? Can I be
Sure.
placed in a breakout, please, with Mr. Walker and Mr. Howard?
And Ms. Burgess also. Kia
Oh,
Burgess.
yes, and Ms. Burgess, please.
Judge.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, officer, is there any chance of getting do you know Mr. Paris and Dominella?
They had him on 3 South, but he on 2 South, so Norris about to go grab, Donella. Paris gonna be a medical reset.
Would he not come out, you know?
Oh,
Dang. All right. I appreciate it.
all right, so give us, 5 minutes. Norris going to get position 8.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Courtroom 2.
Perfect. Thank you.
They're gonna get position 8. What about position 7?
They said he's gonna be a medical reset.
Oh,
I know. Yeah, he
for
will.
time served, nobody can
I
hand
know.
him the phone.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I know. I just I've been trying to meet with him for a little while. And I
He's
just
in
met with him.
quarantine. Was that what they told you, Mr. Finley? You don't know. Okay, never
I
mind.
think, yeah.
Okay, no, I got you.
Yeah.
When the jail comes back on, I will ask if somebody could maybe hand him a phone, because if it's time served and there's a medical situation, perhaps he could just get out.
Yeah. So yeah, so I guess we're just waiting on one, Judge.
All right, do we want to review the calendar? Well,
Yeah.
let's hold until that position comes.
So what happened with 220?
We're gonna reset that. That's going to SAP. Mr. Walker, how long did we say? It was three, was it just next week?
What
For
position? is that in?
Travell Walker,
I think we
27,
said 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yes. And you think that's enough? I know Mr. Howard is Mr. Howard still here? Are we sure that's enough time?
That was Mr. Howard's,
Okay,
It's gonna be on the regular SAP?
yes, he was
state
found
is
competent.
optimistic. That's all I'll say.
He was found competent, so it is SAP and not competency, correct?
I would prefer we keep it on the competency calendar, even though he was found competent, but
We'll let Mr. Howard speak to that. And should he remain on competency or should he go to SAP?
Judge, I would say, I'm fine if we want to keep it on the competency calendar or bring it back to the competency calendar, I guess is what we would be saying.
Right, because technically he's on SAP now.
I just want him to get lost in SAP. And I know we pay closer attention to the competency cases, and he has extenuating circumstances.
Okay, so we will, despite the discussion, we'll put him back on the competency calendar for 8/18 to check a status.
Yes. That'll be fine.
All right, holding for position 8, I'm gonna ask the jail if there's anything they can do regarding position 7. Brief recess. Ms. Mitchell, if you would also send that transfer order, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm still waiting on the response from the DA's office.
So is that case actually gonna be transferred then?
It's supposed to, like, he has prior convictions. It's just that in his criminal history, his aliases cause confusion.
What position was this?
This was position 11.
Okay, so does 11 need to be reset to make sure, because if we don't have the
Yeah,
order.
it might need to be. I sent an email to the DA's office explaining the difference in criminal history was due to his aliases, and
So
If
let's
we do
reset.
if we
Do
could
you-
request a one-time, 1 week reset, I think.
A whole week, I would rather, well,
Well, I mean, Tuesday, I mean,
is
don't
it,
know
I
if
was
Tuesday-
thinking Tuesday, but if that's not possible, Mr. Walker, we don't have to reset there.
I mean, I'm okay with Tuesday. I don't know if Mr. Jordan will
We'll do-
allow it.
Right, we'll do a week, that,
Okay.
just to make sure all is well. We're gonna reset 1 week to the SAP calendar on the, what is a week from today? 11th.
Hey, Your Honor, this is Mr. Dominella.
Okay, this is position 8.
Yes. Mr.
Okay, and I have to ask that courtroom too, is there any chance we could take position 7? Because I know position 7 is a time served plea. So if we could, I know he's in medical, but can somebody maybe hand him a phone?
So-
Is that possible?
So, Judge, Your Honor, I did just speak with Derek. I know he's reaching out to Ian or Mr. Walker as we speak to try to get a resolution for that one.
A resolution for 7?
Oh yeah, I apologize for 7.
What resolution could we reach if he's not brought though?
I don't know, but Mr. Howard has previously asked for a null prize, and I had previously said no, so I don't know if that was the question,
Well,
but
is there no, okay, so there's no non-price, and there's no chance we could bring position 7 to it for a time served? Okay, I guess we're, no answer to that. Let's do position 8 for now.
Your Honor, can you hear us?
No, I can't. No, what were you saying?
I was saying this is Mr. Dominella. I didn't have the calendar in front of me.
Yes, but what I was asking about position 7, Mr. Darrell, is there any way we could bring or hand him a phone? Because if it's a time served plea, he would be released today.
Oh, he was actually upstairs with the other officer. Let me find out what's going on. Okay.
Okay, if you could find out, because if we could resolve it today, I would prefer to do that, okay?
Can we go forward, position 8 though?
Yes, of course, we will, of course. All right, Mr. Dom, and earlier there was a witness for Mr. Dominella. I believe the witness might be gone now. All right, Mr. Dominella, your case is 22 CR 004754C, in which you're charged with terroristic threats, 2 counts, with the offense date of March the 21st of 2022. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of the case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney at this proceeding here today. This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It is also being recorded. That means that any member of the public can log on and watch this particular proceeding. Do you understand those rights as I just explained them to you?
Yes, I do.
All right. The announcement is that this is a negotiated time served plea. Is that correct, Mr. Finley?
That's correct, Judge.
All right, Ms. Mitchell, will you please put the factual basis onto the record as well as the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor, in this case, the defendant threatened Mr. Gary Ganal, spelled G-A-N-A-H-L, and Mr. Thomas Ganal by threatening to burn the house down, and there were 2 other witnesses that heard those threats. The state's recommendation is going to be 12 months to serve, 30 days, credit for time served, 15 days, balance probated, no further contact with Gary Ganal and Thomas Ganal. Stay away from 179 Haygood, spelled Haygood Avenue, Southeast Atlanta. 6-week anger management, 40 hours community service, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Finley, was that your understanding of the plea offer?
Yes, yes, it was, Judge, and
And,
do stipulate the factual basis, venue, and ID.
all
We just
right,
ask that the probation fees be waived for a period of time, and also that once you complete the anger management and community service, if it can be non-reporting.
all right, it can go non-reporting, and I will waive 2 months of fees to give him time to complete the anchor management and community service. All right, Mr. Dominella, I'm gonna ask you a series of questions to make sure that you are voluntarily taking the plea today, all right? Do you understand that? He's muted.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You can put your hand down. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today that would interfere with your ability to understand this proceeding?
No, Your Honor.
Did anyone promise or coerce you and promise you anything in exchange for taking a plea?
No, Your Honor.
Did anyone, I'm sorry, brain is fried. Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation?
Very much so, Your Honor.
I was going to say this.
All right, and, do you understand that if you take a plea today, you're waiving your right to later challenge the, challenge the, evidence against you, or to confront your, accuser, or have the state prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
I understand.
And you're prepared to waive all the rights you would have had associated with going to court?
I understand.
And I'm asking yes or no, are you prepared to waive your rights?
Yes.
And you understand the requirements of the sentence, you should not have additional time to serve at the Fulton County Jail. However, you do have to stay away from that address on Haygood Avenue and complete an anchor management course, as well as undergo and complete 40 hours of community service. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
All right, as to the charges of terroristic threats, how do you plead, Mr. Dominella?
Guilty. So with the.
All right, I accept your guilty plea. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Brother.
All right, hearing none, best of luck to you, Mr. Dominella. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
All right, take care. All right, any announcement for position 7?
Yes, Judge, I don't know if the deputies are able to bring him. If they can bring him, we can reach some type of resolution.
It's gonna be a medical reset. He's not getting out of bed, he's just looking. Not saying.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you at courtroom 2.
It's gonna be a medical reset. Not getting out of bed, he's just looking at the door when we're asking about court.
Judge, and Mr. Walker and I talked, Judge, this is a unique situation. We may have to
do a breakout right quick.
Yes, we can do that. Let's do that.
Yes, we can go to a breakout. Let's do that.
That was.
And if I could be, please be put in the breakout as well.
All right, we are about to conclude this calendar, but before we do, at courtroom two, I just have one further question. At times, we've been able to take a cell phone in to a person. I understand that he's refusing to get up from his cell, but he would be released on a signature bond to the jail. He would not have to plead guilty today. I just wanted him to be aware of that. Is there any way we could explore that option?
Give me 10 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Everyone, I hope that you'll bear with us just 10 minutes longer in the interest of justice.
Is lunch on you today, Judge?
I got donuts. Donuts are on me. If we can do that, I'll order some donuts, but I cannot guarantee lunch for all participants.
Are you doing the C calendar as well, Judge, or just this calendar?
I'm doing just this calendar. I'm doing just this calendar, but I will be back. Oh, I won't be back this week. I'll be back Monday. I'll bring donuts Monday if you all are here. Come down and get a donut. All right, Commiss Champion, let's review the calendar in the meantime, so I don't hold anyone any longer than we have to. We're gonna review the calendar and hopefully we can at least take position 8.
Number 1 was reset further notice. Arraigned jail jury. Position number 2 was reset SAP 816. Position number 3 was a plea. Position number 4, reset SAP 811. Position number 5 was a plea. Position number 6 was a plea. Position number 7, we're holding on. Position number 8 was a plea. Position number 9 was reset SAP 89. Position number 10 was arraigned, reset further notice. Position number 11 was reset SAP 811, possible transfer. Position number 12, reset SAP 89. Position 13, same announcement. Position 14 was reset further notice. Position 15 was reset further notice with the bond modification to a $1,500 cash bond. Position number 16 was a plea. Position number 17 was a plea. Position number 18 was a plea. Position 19 and 20 is reset SAP 9-1, possible plea. Position 21 was a plea. 22 was a plea. 23 was a plea. 24 was a plea. 25 was a plea. 26 was a plea. 27 and 28 is reset SAP competency 818. Position 29, defendant was released, reset further notice. And position 30 was a plea.
And then the non-jail plea calendar, we're gonna reset that 1 week for next Thursday.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments, changes, corrections, or questions? All right, we're just gonna hold a few more minutes and see if we can take this position.
And then, Your Honor, if you don't mind, if my solicitors can be excused, I'll stay and handle the last matter.
All right, thank you. You've earned the Snicker bar, Mr. Walker.
All right, thank you.
And Ms. Harrison, I believe you can be excused.
And the court reporter.
Court reporter can be, well, we're not taking a plea. We might take a plea.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Ms. Hill, if you could hold one. I'm sorry, you look so excited. Just hold one more moment. Ms. Harrison, before you go, if you'll just give us that history, then you'll be free to go in the event that we do need it, okay? Position 7, if you'll give us a history for Daryl Perry. And all other solicitors other than Mr. Walker are free to go. Mr. Finley, unfortunately, I need you to stay. Mr. McLean, you're free to go.
That Mr. McLean is gonna bring down his paperwork.
Oh, he's gonna bring it down, okay. Ms. Harrison, are you ready to give us the history so you can go? Or you need another moment?
40 cycles. Last arrest was August of 2020 for violating family violence order. No disposition listed. A 2019 misdemeanor conviction for violating family violence order in DeKalb County. A 2018, also out of DeKalb, is a criminal trespass conviction. 2018, one moment. 2014 aggravated stalking, also out of DeKalb, and that was a felony. That case number is 12 CR 6200. A 2012 theft by shoplifting.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Harrison. I think that's good.
Thank you,
Unless
Judge.
you see something else, have it, enjoy your lunch.
Quick question, Judge. Is
Yeah.
probation needed?
It would, if
doubt
he
it,
were to
no.
take a plea, it wouldn't be
No,
probated.
no probation. Probation is excused.
No, thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Oh, I see jail court's iPhone. I'm getting excited. I think we may be able to handle this. All right, Mr. Finley, if your client is able to come on at this time, would you, I guess what will be your announcement? You heard the state's offer to give him a signature bond. Would you prefer to go that route or to have him take the time served plea in this case?
I would say that time served plea. I did meet with him and yesterday, and he did want to take the plea.
Okay, and the only condition would be to stay away from 1020
I mean,
Spring Street.
Let me, I apologize. Go ahead. I just want to make sure, I guess, check with.
Oh, we'll check in with him. Miss,
Derek,
are you
yeah.
Paris Daryl or Daryl Paris, sir? We're getting so close. Are you, sir, are you Mr. Daryl? Are you Paris Daryl? I can't hear you.
Judge, I'm just going to reach out to Mr. Howard really fast.
Okay. Mr. Are you able to hear me, Mr. Daryl?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your case is 19.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good afternoon. Your case is 19 CR 003947J, in which you're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of April the 26th of 2019. I'm going to explain some important rights to you. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney today. This particular court date is happening over the internet. That means that any member of the public can log on and watch this. It is also being recorded. Do you understand those rights as I just explained them to you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Finley, what is your announcement?
Yes, Judge, we are planning to move forward with the plea.
Okay, Mr. Walker, will you please put the recommendation onto the record as well as a very brief factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a time served offer of 194 days, balance suspended with the condition of a stay away from the address of 1020 Spring Street on 4/26/2019. APD was dispatched to that location, which was a funeral home chapel, and Mr. Paris was found inside of the chapel without any clothing on. At that time, he was arrested for criminal trespass.
Okay, Mr. Finley, do you stipulate to the factual basis, ID, and venue? And was that your understanding of the offer?
Yes, Judge, that was our understanding of the offer, and I did review that with Mr. Paris yesterday. And Mr. Paris, in a moment, the judge is going to go over the same questions I did with you yesterday.
Okay, Mr. Paris, do you want to take a plea today?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Paris, I'm going to ask you a series of questions to make sure that you are voluntarily taking the plea, okay? Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Please raise your
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. I'm gonna place you under oath for the purposes. Raise your right hand. I'm gonna place you under oath for the purposes of this plea. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay.
Ma'am.
You can put your hand down. Thank you. All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No.
All right.
No, I'm not.
All right. Are you able to understand this court proceeding today fully? Do you understand what is happening at this time?
Yes, I do.
All right. Are you satisfied with Mr. Finley's representation?
I didn't understand what y'all were recommending.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation? Did he represent you well such that you are satisfied?
And so you said I had, yes, yes, I am.
You're satisfied. All right. And do you understand that you absolutely cannot go back to that funeral home at this time? You like under no conditions. You cannot even, don't even walk that way. Do you understand that, Mr. Paris?
Yes.
All right. And do you understand that you're not going to have a later court date, that this is going to resolve the case? You won't, your time spent in the jail will resolve this, but you again cannot go back to that funeral home. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. And as I said, the state would have had to prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You're giving up your right to have them do so? Okay, so you're giving up your right to go to court and you're giving up your right to just have the state prove these charges against you?
Oh, I understand.
Yes, but are you yes or no? Are you giving up your right to go to court and fight these charges?
Yes.
All right. And again, you do understand you cannot go back to that location, correct?
Correct.
All right, as to the charge of criminal trespass, how do you plead, Mr. Paris?
Guilty.
All right,
Guilty.
I accept your guilty plea. If there is nothing further from either the state or defense, and if you don't have any other holds, Mr. Paris, you should be released shortly, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you,
Oh,
sir.
excuse me, but
Uh-oh. Yes, what were you saying?
I really don't have nowhere to go and know anything, but I know I had a future. I know I should have some money. If I before I leave, I will try to get my water or something going on. I know I have fun in the world. I know my life, each Asian. I'm up on a check and I need my money.
Okay.
I know my money be going direct.
Mr. Finley is gonna reach out to you with some resources to help you find somewhere to go, okay? I just don't think that the Fulton County Jail is the best place, so they're gonna reach out and find you some places to be, all right?
All right, then y'all die.
I'm sorry?
Y'all go to hell and die.
Say that again?
Mr. Paris,
We do what? What did he say? I didn't understand what he said.
We can bypass the judge. You don't.
Okay, I'm just making sure it wasn't what I thought.
It
All
was.
right, I think we've taken the plea. Is there anything outstanding from our state or the defense?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, have we gotten all relevant paperwork back from the jail?
I believe
Other
on
than
behalf
this
of the
one.
state,
Okay, one other question, are we gonna be able to get paperwork for Mr. Paris now? Mr. Finley, are you authorized? Mr. Walker, please don't laugh, it's been very
So-
difficult.
I'm
today.
sorry.
Don't
So I
laugh.
did, so, yes, Judge, I did. I met with Mr. Paris yesterday. I went over all the questions on the plea statement and he gave me his permission to sign on his behalf.
I'm just gonna say hallelujah to that. All right. So if you would send the paperwork, Ms. Hill, please go to lunch. Thank you. Thank you all. We've already reconciled the calendar. I believe we're finished. Is there anything
No,
further?
ma'am.
All right, everybody enjoy their lunch. Donuts on me on Monday. Take care. everyone.
Bye, Judge.
All right,
All right.
bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.